What's going on, bro?
Ah, man, same old. It's freezing over here, dude. It's like 6 degrees out or something like that.
Holy snikes, man.
Going down to zero tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's get this framed for the live stream for everyone out there. And and like there might not be many people joining because of what's going on around the country. So
Mhm.
but I think a lot of people do go back. So when I go back into the analytics, I see that a lot of people go back and watch. So
Yeah.
um whether or not we get many connecting here, I'm just stoked to be live with you and to catch up. And so um definitely want to get started with post holiday, like how everything's going, what your kind of your goals are and what you're working on for 2026, and then like current state of the tank. And then yeah, I mean, then I think we probably should get into, because of your deep history um in aquatics, particularly with coral and stuff like that, about redundancy. Maybe some we could, cover a little bit of how do we ensure that, that we're going to take care of these animals when
Absolutely.
nature strikes. You know what
Good
I mean?
topic. Good topic.
Right, right. So we could
Um,
delve into all of that.
are
Let's
you are,
first of all,
are you hearing
tell me
that?
what's going on.
Do you hear that? The feedback. I'm hearing us chat.
Okay, let's do this. Let me refresh real quick.
No,
Okay, you still hearing
I hear.
feedback?
Yeah, I hear you chatting right now. I hear our chat from a minute ago.
Oh wow, that much of a delay?
Yeah, no, it's like last time we had this, I think we had to go out and come back in, and it stopped.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's do that. Well, I'll go out first, and then I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
I'll request to join again. Okay.
Okay. Let's do. Okay. Yeah, that'll be fine. Anybody out there, you want to give a thumbs up or feedback on the transmission as far as how you're hearing me? That'd be great. And then when Rich gets in, then we can of course bring recheck that again and see how everything is. Okay, here he is. So let's bring Rich on in. Hey, what's going on?
Back. All right. Hopefully it's good now. Let's see.
How does that respond?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because it does sort of like trip you out, man, because you're
Oh
like
no, it's
you,
like a
you,
minute prior what we were saying, like going over what we're saying now, it just freaks you out. It's like you can't concentrate.
yeah, so and given the nature of what's going on with comms and power grids and all of that, there's a lot of stress on the network. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we encounter some static today, but let's not let that stop us. So yeah, man, let's jump into it.
Yeah,
So
man.
you're up there right now. Let's paint a scenario so that everybody understands. We're looking at about you got the two systems, right? You got
Yeah. So it's
um
two systems with each system is two tanks. So my main system is a 200-gallon display, and it has a 100-gallon. It's supposed to be a frag tank, but it kind of turned into a second display. But that one has like more collector type frags. So there's like a lot of smaller stuff that's like, they're expensive to acquire. So I'm not buying colonies of them or anything like that. So growing them out in there. And then the other system is they're matching tanks. They're 110 gallons each. They're 5 feet long by 2 feet wide by 18 high Euro brace tanks. One is set up like frag tank with racks, and then the other one is with like kind of like display style. But again, it's really mainly to grow stuff out. So I hate looking at racks, but I do need them when I have so many corals to move
oh
around. And it's not even about like selling them to like make a business or anything like that. I mean, that happens though. But it's more like there when you have this many corals growing, you have to prune and you have to frag because I would have filled my tanks up 3 times already in 2 years. So pruning. When you put like a PC rainbow in your tank, I don't just grow one colony. I had like 5 or 6 colonies that I had to start selling stuff for. A bubble bath unicorn. It was literally up to 6 colonies before I started like unloading stuff. I'm like a hoarder, man. I love some of the corals. I don't like getting rid of them. Like orange passion. I'll probably never sell it. I'll do a whole tank of orange passion. That's how much I love that coral. Um,
it is a yeah, not to interrupt you, but I would like to say that I was a real big doubter of that coral in the beginning, and now I think it's probably one of the most beautiful. In fact, it's in the top five tenuous in my humble opinion, but I'll
You
leave it
have
at that.
you have to get a good one. That's the thing. So I have one now, but I killed my first two, and it's just the ones that I got prior. The first two I got, they weren't like actively growing ones. I was kind of eager to get them, so I jumped on whatever was available at a decent price, and that was a mistake. When you get like a stagnant dormant coral, man, I mean, as if they're not difficult enough, but now you got something that's just shut down. So now you got to
Mhm.
wake it up. Like for instance, my Jackson Rainbow tenuous, I bought it off a Reef and bid auction. Shit, Perry, I'm sitting on that thing 18 months. I finally got it to start growing. 18 months. Yeah, now this is a sickly little booger, and now it's growing. It's about an inch and a half, a little thicker of a stick. But that's what it is sometimes when the coral's shut down. So you got to get an active growing specimen that's grown in your conditions. So
Mhm.
if you have a high par tank, don't buy a coral that's grown in 175 par. If your nitrates are like 5 and your tank's generally clean, don't buy it from a high nutrient tank. It's going to be like a system shock and like a metabolism shift, and you're going to sit there and wait. So I try to get corals that are similar to what I have going on, and that's what I did with this orange passion. It took off from the first day it was growing, you know.
Excellent, excellent, and yeah, it's really hard to understand that. I mean, I think there's a lot to learn as far as why one coral wants to sort of hibernate. And I've got it's funny, I've got recent corals that were brought into the system that are now bigger than corals that were smaller than the corals in the system that are brought in that are now bigger than the corals that were originally there. And
Yeah.
so it's sort of the same thing, right? I've got the psychoberry. It's absolutely most insanely colored coral, but it's a booger, and I can't get it to do much. And it's been like that since the beginning. But I think it'll eventually take off.
Oh yeah, well,
Neutron,
just gotta be
same
patient.
thing. Wants the base. It wants to be this big, bold, very, very thick, burly acro, and when it goes against really what its heritage or I guess lineage suggests it should do. And so, you just sometimes I think it is the specimen, but sometimes it can be the system when it goes into the system, and so
Yeah.
I'm trying to look into the life cycle, the state of the tank and where it's at, and it's the reef is where it's at in its maturity life cycle. And then I'm trying to set parameters and light and everything about that. That's kind of what I've been working on in the background, but it's really hard to understand. But I can think one thing is for sure is once you get the corals banging the way you've got them banging in your tank, I think they signal, and I think that everybody comes along for the journey. And so I think once you come over that hump, and it looks like your tank has definitely done that because I've went back and looked at, when when your display started, and it hasn't been very long since you've really taken that tank and I mean it's exploded in very
Mm.
short time. And
Yeah.
so I think you're still on the upswing. I think you've got a lot more growth ahead. And you just got to stay in tune with that, right? You got to keep up with that life cycle of where it's at right now.
Yeah.
And
This
and
system right now is rocking. It's a little deceiving in the photos because I pulled so many colonies out of my display. Like if I just left it alone, the tank would look like a jungle. I pulled out a rainbow loom the size of like a cantaloupe. I pulled out tables in there that were like bigger than my hand. It just and I did this by design because I didn't have all the tanks at first, but I knew I'd be adding more, so I was utilizing the space that I had. And then, like when you look at the rainbow, you're like, okay, I have too many reds, I have too many greens, or I need a blue, and then you kind of do that, and essentially what's happening is I'm ending up with smoothies because they grow slower, they
Mhm.
go into space, and I don't have to deal with them as much. If I put like a Paletta pink tip type. What is that? What do they call it? What a divaricata? If one of those, if I put one of those in there, it's like it overtakes the tank in like 5 months. Even like tables. Some of the tables just kind of you got to give them space. I have a couple tables now and I have room for them, but anyway, it's that kind of stuff. Um, but what the hell? I gotta tell you something. Oh, whatever. I'll remember as we're going. But God, sorry to cut you off on that.
No, no, you didn't cut me off. No, I love hearing like what's going on. Yeah, so back to the SCOP, it's a dynamic core. I'm glad you found a good cut. I've had my hands on a really good cut. My buddy locally has a really good cut of it. And so, I'm sure once it gets big enough, he'll pass it back along. But we kind of do that. But honestly, dude, I'm getting to the point with my tank where I'm gonna start getting really, really super selective. And it's not for any particular coral. It's just that I really want to see this display go like full on. Like I want to have a little 40-gallon tank that looks like, coral growing out of the water.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, absolutely.
And it'd be a cool thing to take it all the way to full maturation. So,
Sure.
um, yeah. So I mean, I'm just digging, what I have, and of course, always learning, through you and through all the guests that stop by and what they're doing, and it's really good to hear about each different system. So for everybody out there, he's in a basement. Rich is in a basement with around 400 gallons of water,
It's
and
like 600.
it's 600. Okay. Well, I mean, as far as display is concerned, I think
Oh, yeah, displays is about 500 in displays.
okay, about five. So everybody's got it framed up, and he's up in and like Jersey, like Shore Jersey area, right?
Yeah, yeah, like the southern shore of New Jersey. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, just so everybody contextually can understand, he's got some stuff that's about to come his way that could wreak havoc. And later we're going to get into strategies that Rich is using to brace for what could be several days, if not weeks of very frigid temperatures. And what's his strategy of that. But yeah, I mean, if you follow Rich on Instagram with Jackson's Reef, absolutely always putting out some of the most amazing corals. And of course, for everyone out there, if this is our third catch up, but his purple monster is really something to behold. So that in itself is something that we could spend an hour alone talking about. But
It might die.
what's going on this year? Do you have anything that's going on? Anything that's upsetting you with your system, or how do you feel about everything? And just sort of catch me up on what's going on with this year. Any strategies or anything?
Yeah,
Before we get there,
yeah,
can I take a second?
sure.
I want to make sure that everybody out there understands how important it is to get a reach out from Worldwide Corals to stop by and say, "Hey, we want to check out your tank." That's one thing, but Rich is really on this trend where I think we're going to even see some more great things down the road. Maybe a Reef of the Month down the line. I don't want to put a hex out there, but I see a lot. I know that Top Shelf recently reached out to him whether or not he's going to move forward in that.
Yep.
We've talked. There was one other thing one other interview you had on another popular reefing platform as well. Which one was that?
I don't know. Top Shelf's going to be filming here February 19th. They're coming here.
But you
So
had Worldwide, and then you had
Worldwide
another.
and then Top Shelf. And that's it.
Well, you had some other big accolade that I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I could have remember. I know there was something else that was real special. Anyway, it's just a testament to like how well you're doing with your system and how in tune, how much you're connected. And I think that, I don't think that many people understand what that means, like when I say connected. So take us through your system. And I'm just going to stand back and just kind of let you talk through. And if you want to show
Okay.
anything that you're working on with, go in on it with your
Yeah.
camera,
All right. Well,
anything that you want to show, catch us up, tell us what your strategies are for this year. Anything you want to
so
pour on out, man. I just want to catch up with Rich.
yeah. Well, the one thing we were speaking about before, where you said things that any problems that I had, I did have that problem with copper that we were talking about. Okay,
Hmm.
that kind of peaked at the end of the summer. And what happened with that was I was dosing KZ flatworm stop. Now, for anybody who doses that stuff, be aware it has copper in it. It's confirmed. It has varying levels of copper. And if you dose it daily like I did, you will get an accumulation of copper. Now it's subtle. Now some corals don't care. Some corals look fantastic with the copper. It lightens them up, gives them a glow. There's corals such as tenuous, Anything that looks like Orabellina, like a fuzzy one, like Marvin the Martian, anything like that in my tank was burnt. And all my tenuous went pale, and it happened gradually. You kind of notice it, and you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. You send out an OES ICP, it doesn't show a copper level because it's incapable of reading it. For anybody who stands by OES, it's just not, it can't read low level copper below, So I sent out an MS, I saw the copper, and then I had something to correct. And when I corrected it, you know, it stopped, but the damage was done. I lost, 5,000 plus in colonies, a Walt Disney, a home wrecker, a goofy home wrecker. I mean, a lot of lineage tenuous that are slow growing enough. So anyway,
Right.
not to dwell on that, but just be aware if you dose that crap, because the upside, there is no upside. All right. You put a little wormwood in your tank or whatever, it's in our head. All right. I'm pissed off at that company. So enough about that. Let's go through a system. So here we go. We'll start with the display. Oh, let me get the 1 second.
So
I'm gonna get
while
the right.
Rich is getting himself prepared, as I actually use it and I've been an advocate of it for a long time. And yeah, I have to say that really anything that you use, guys, I would always highly, highly, highly recommend a once a week, then to a twice a week, and really do the big thing is observation and observation, observation. Um, but like Rich is saying, if you're doing it on a frequent basis, on a daily basis, you really want to micro
Yeah.
dose. If Could that be
And
the
if
case?
I was following the directions, it would have been even worse. I was only dosing half the recommended amount, and that put me
Right.
in a red zone. You know what? And the thing is, because it's deceiving, because so many corals will look great. You're like, oh, you could just
Mhm.
focus on your tables, and you could focus on, a lot of like your I don't know, your Acro Floridas and your a lot of stuff will look great, and then you could overlook the few that are doing shitty if you're not tenuous heavy. But the
Mhm.
upside is nothing. It doesn't get rid of flatworms. So what the hell are we dosing it for? You know. But
Yeah.
anyway, here you go. So this is a brown filter here. It's better for because this right here this is 20 key metal halide. Now years ago this was like overly blue, disgusting. I mean, we didn't have even um uh lens the photo lenses back then too. So you know this by today's standards is super white. Okay, this is almost, when I look at my LED tanks and I go to this looks like a 65 Kawasaki to me. But
Mhm.
just because your eye adjusts to the overly blue spectrum. So this is a 200-gallon innovative marine. Okay.
Hey, Rich, where would you say that without the filter, where would you say that that lighting spectrum would fall? Like on a normal, like if you were to not have that filter on, like if
So
some like a 20K maybe
no,
or
yeah.
a
So
little blue.
it's no, it's a 20K bulb. It's definitely a 20K bulb, but it's actually bluer than that, because you got to understand. I have
Right, right.
like even though this looks white here, it's not. I mean, there is one white channel, but there's royal blue and blues in there, and then in this there's violet and royal blues in here, and then I have blue reef brights. So I have a lot of added blue spectrum. If I was to shut off all the LEDs, you would see like that pale ice blue color, but the LEDs kind of distort it. So this lens is close. This is probably a little bit more yellow than what I'm seeing, but this is really close to what I see. If I could like make it 3000 K bluer, that's probably more accurate, but this isn't bad. At least you can see the colors of the corals. This is not like jacked up blue LED with an orange filter. This is like pretty close to the colors that I see here. All right. So
What's that massive table right dead center as you walk up?
that guy. So
Yeah, that
that's
table.
now that was sold to me as Reef Starfire. Now that thing is basically the same thing as the leprechaun's beard. Whatever that species is, there's a lot of different names for it, right? And it's a quick grower, and it's beautiful when you get it happy, and the polyp extension, and I
Good
have,
gracious.
yeah, it's like it's in this whole little spot right here, and I have it epoxy to that rock. So I don't know, I got a little more time, once it like fills up this whole area and kind of
What's
shades
that
this.
one down on the bottom, Rich, that you're complimenting? Is that a is that a whatchamacallit? 24 not the 24
So
$500 Eplo?
exactly what it is. I got the original frag I bought from Pieces of the Ocean last year, and
Uh-huh.
this one here, if I gave it more par, it would be like a little bit more purple, but it is what it is. It gets a lot of room there. So and I put a frag in the LED tank, and it's like it gets the color in the LED gets crazy when you give it like 600-700 par with blue LED. It's just nuts. Oh,
What's
look at that
that
baby.
really bright red one right there to the right?
This guy.
Yeah.
That is a It's not a lineage confetti.
Okay.
It's a piece from my local fish store. They called it the rose bloom, whatever. It's almost identical to confetti. And then I have like a lineage confetti up here. So you know, but we'll start from this side here. So this is the Vin, right? It's
Right.
old school coral. Now, you under blue light, this thing kind of sucks. This only really looks decent under a whiter light. This is an interesting coral here. This is I don't know if the camera picks up the purple tips, but this is
I can kind of see it. Yeah.
five alarm corals. Calls this Lucky Charms. It's kind of interesting. It's a I don't know. I remember seeing this from the early 2000s, and I bought a frag from it at. Dude, I bought the frag of this thing in like June. It's already like a colony the size of my hand. It's a fast grower.
It's really cool looking the way it's growing, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's got its own little corner over there, so it has room to do its thing, And then over
It
here we
doesn't.
got
It can't tell whether it wants to be a table or a stag. It's kind of like kind of trying to do both. It's really cool though. I like
yeah.
it.
I'll take you to the top in a minute so you can see the real colors. But this is fox flame. Now this is one of the colonies. I have two colonies of this in here. This is the Tyree ultimate stag, right? Now I have
Mhm.
another giant one here in the back. This sucker's big here, man. That's another. You see it? Now it's hard to show, but
Wow.
that's probably like 12, 13 inches right there. Okay. And then this guy, this stag here is like that thing goes all the way behind the rockwork. That thing's probably about 16, 17 inches high because it goes down behind the rocks and it's about to hit the water surface, maybe another month. Maybe I'll frag the tips or something. But anyway, where the heck are we here? This is a ORA Skyline granulosa. This
Ah,
is Yeah, I lost the colored tips on it. I think it needs more light, but that's what it gets. This is a good one, Perry. This is Carolina Coral Heads Chewbacca. This one's a really shaggy one. I think the polyp extension is like genetic, man, because no matter where I put that coral, that thing was like fuzzy as can be.
goodness
And
gracious. That's a hairy looking sucker.
yeah, yeah, that's why he calls it Chewbacca. And then we have there's a I showed you these bird's nests before, but I like that green one. That's the Route 66 Queensland Sizzler sitting on top of a blue zing bird's nest. This is a wild shortcake that I've been growing. This is a good one though. I have two pieces of this. This one's growing fast. And that's the pink lemonade that was black. Remember when it was black and now I got my color back on it? Look.
Oh, it's
Remember
looking
that's
good, man. Look at them
yeah, dude.
polyps,
The, the
dude.
the black is gone. Yeah, they got healthy, man. I did that Cipro treatment, and then they just they got slowly got healthy, and all the black is gone on them. Now this big piece up here, which is interesting, you got to see this from the top. This is Battle Coral's Cool Brews. Now, when you put that under LED, it glows all kinds of crazy colors.
Is that
So
an abro?
no, it's not an abro. It's I don't know what it is, man. It's just some
It's
type
really
of
chunky.
yeah, I got to show you from the top. It's some kind of stag, but I don't know what it is, man. It's unique. Look at it.
Wow, that is pretty.
Like what the hell is it? I don't know. It almost looks like Paletta pink tip colors, but in a stag version.
Yeah, but it's
But it has
thick.
this like yeah under LED. This is remember this halide under LED. These tips they kind of glow. It's like a fuchsia color. So it's a cool coral, man. I mean, Adam has a picture on his site. It's all jacked up with the LEDs. It looks pretty sick. This is pieces of the ocean afterburner. This is definitely looking better under LED than halide, but it grows like wildfire in this tank, man. This colony got huge. Yeah, you know what that is, Perry? That little bastard. I hate this coral. That's what I got so far. It doesn't want. That's one of the ones that it doesn't want to grow yet. But I'm
That's
just
all right.
leaving it,
It will.
dude. I haven't moved it. This thing's coming along real nice. This is Jason Fox Fantasy Island. There's a
Yeah, it's
bunch of
the
corals that
fantasy
look
island.
like yeah, yeah. And this
The
is
granulosa, I think.
now this is Wolverine, not Wolverine, the other one, Pink Floyd. But this one's not
Okay.
actively growing. The one in my frag tank has all the growth tips. This is Rocky Mountain Tiger's Blood. I think they call it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And then this is the ORA uh, purple solid purple Velita. I don't know.
Mm,
I like it. It was just like a little. It's nice. I like it.
hmm.
Um, some grafted tenuous that I almost killed, and it's coming back. It's got some whatever. And you know what that sucker is right there. Look at the nubs exploded on that. I've never had one so purple, Perry, and I never had a tank fed so well. So like they're usually Like if you look at all the pictures of the giant colonies from the past, it's all these pale versions of it, because we all had, we strived for no nutrients, like no nitrates, no phosphates. We certainly weren't feeding right. So the coral was always pale, but it grew and it survived. So, what I'm saying is this coral was never difficult to keep. I had it in a nano tank. I stand by the lighting. Everybody who tries to put it under LED loses it within a year or two. I had this coral.
Mm, that table. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sold through Reef Starfire, but you can call it whatever you want. It looks just like Con's beard. Then we have a little clam. Every 6 months, I
Mhm.
get them big and I swap them for a smaller one to fit in the cradle. Just I don't even. What did I just do here? I hit retouch. What did I do? Hold on. Retouch off. Okay. Can you see everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hit a button. I didn't know what happened. So this is just a
Beautiful Gandhi.
non-lineage. Yeah, it was a little frag. It's been going for 2 years, and this is the glitter Ghani. Same thing. This is a lineage one. This is TSA Optimus Prime. Now it looks different under halide. Like you put this under LED, it gets all like these fluorescent colors. This is just the way it is under halide. Now this is a pearlberry. See, now this is weird because the color is correct on this, but the growth sucks, man. I had this coral 2 years and it just doesn't like I look at Lee's and I'm like, man, this one's like, I don't know, this one's deformed or something. I actually bought a frag from Jason Fox at a show like 2 weeks ago, and I stuck it over here. It's only like 2 weeks old, but I'm just curious if that one will grow better in time than this guy. You
Well,
know,
that one you just showed me over on the left side, that Jason Fox cut, that looks really, really like old school proper to me. Like, not that that one doesn't. It's just I'm thrown off by it's got more color than I'm used to seeing in it. The
this
other
is
one
how
to me looks very proper.
this is so. This is how, believe it or not, the coloration on this one is exactly how it was in my old tank when I grew it. And that one
Mhm.
grew. I mean, that one I had like a palm-sized table of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. This one looks like it'll eventually get there, but you can see like it's like weird little twisty growth tips. It's just whatever. I'm not going to dwell on it. It's alive. It's
It's got
colorful.
the
This
right
is another.
structure. It's got the right branches. It's got the right coralite and on the right, all of it looks uniform. It looks proper. It's just that the other piece to me looks like what I would think like if I, in my mind if I saw an ORA frag on a plug somewhere, that to me looks. But it's not that it's like you were just saying. It's just growing differently right there. It'll pick its pace up. It'll form itself proper. So yeah, it's just in a weird funk in a weird
Yeah.
growth thing. But I mean,
Well,
it looks
it's
absolutely
staying there.
beautiful. That's all that
It's
matters.
encrusted. I'll just leave it alone and another piece of that wild shortcake, but this one gets high par and high flow. This is going to be a showpiece of the tank, I think. When this
That's
table's
a
out,
strawberry
I mean, I've only
shortcake.
had this. This is a wild Aussie strawberry shortcake. It was a frag that
Oh
I've been
my
growing out, so
god.
I got this back in like June or July. So listen, it's probably like baseball size already. So it's doing good. But when this sucker kind of tables out and comes across the center of the reef, it's going to be pretty amazing. I'm kind of excited about that because this is a no lineage uh, frag of Amelia that I grew out. I don't know what it is, like an ASD type. And then this guy over here is Pieces of the Ocean Dream Catcher, which looks under LED. This thing turns solid pink. It's so weird. I have frags of it that are solid pink under LED, and over here it's like tan. And that's goes with the LED sometimes. They're good at turning things red and pink. That's a vivid frag, confetti. This is an alberhensis. This is a frag from a wild one that I got about. It's probably about 8 or 10 months I have it. It was kind of stagnant for a while, and it still hasn't branched out. All it did is encrust that branch. But
Mhm.
I see a little bit of tip something going on there, so we'll see. Some little frags. That's a Raising Reef Blue Flame, and this is Peng's Blue Monster.
Mhm.
Um, Other thing there. What else? This is some 5 alarm coral spath. TSA Rose Bloom. I like that one. There's Two C's granulosa.
Mm.
Oh, this coral. This one started just recently waking up, growing fast. I mean, like you see all the little buds coming out of the tip. That's all
Mhm.
within the last month. So I already made a. I got another frag mini colony going in the other tank too. So
That's
what do we
good,
got
man.
here?
Always
Wild
cut
tea.
the first frag for yourself.
Always. Now this is a coral. I don't know. This is cherry corals Hellboy. I messed it up for a while, but I got new growth forming here, and this color at these tips looks okay to me. Over here, it looks like kind of wine colored. I think as it grows out more, it'll color up. I don't know what this is. Got this from the fish store. I remember this coral from years ago. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I like it. Um,
It's got that flame
and,
look to it.
and then you saw our avalanche. This is growing quite a bit here. This is doing really good. Man, I love that coral. I'm so happy I
Which
got
one
it
is that?
growing.
Thames blue?
Ari's avalanche.
Oh, I mean RV. Yeah, Ari's. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and then this one's glowing too. This is pieces of the ocean, Queen of Hearts they call it, which I think there's another coral that looks identical to it, but just a little piece of pieces of the ocean's flamethrower. What else? This is a wild granny that I think's got a lot of potential, man.
That looks like
The color.
Tuesdays.
Well, Two Seasons has more of
Uh-huh.
a
Okay,
cream
I can
body,
see. Yeah,
but but but,
yeah.
but the green color it's pretty common when you get a wild one. I think as they grow, they lighten up, so it could be identical in time. I only have it for about 3 months, so it's got some time. There's another pink lemonade that was totally black, dude. I mean, jet black, and now you could see the green. It's like repopulating the zoothalley, and it's yellow again. What else? Oregon tort, and this is it looks
That
so ugly,
Oregon
but
torch fire, dude.
this is a piece of works. I don't know, little odds, a little tangerine dream, and little odds and ends, but that's most of the stuff in here. A couple little oddballs, but the colors in the system got really, really vibrant. Oh wait, how can I? You got to see this from the top. Hold on. Look at this orange crush from the top, dude. Look at the polyp extension on this thing. It's like perfect freaking color, dude. I've never had one so uniform and perfect like this, dude. Look at the tips. I mean, it's it's freaking insane. I actually, and I have another one. That was AV99 Orange Crush, and then this is Battle Coral's Strawberry Fields. I mean, yeah, the same coral, but I have two of them because I don't know, I just like looking at them. Um, and that's
Yeah,
it. And
that
there's my little
that
birdie
AV
there.
99. That's Tim. He's got a killer collection. I've gotten some stuff from him in the past, and I was really thrilled with his corals, and I was thrilled with his shipping, his variety, freebies, and his
Yeah,
cost.
yeah,
Like just
yeah.
incredible
I want to get
pieces.
corals from him. Actually, I need to. I'll get something from him. He has the hell, what is that coral called? The pieces of the ocean, not pieces of the ocean. The heart of the ocean, Peng's heart of the ocean. I want to get that coral.
Oh yeah,
This
Poto. Mhm.
but I put that green coral. Look, I like the backdrop of the purple monster with the green. I think it's a good contrast. That's kind of why I put it there.
That's
Uh,
sick.
and
That'd
then
be a
let's
really
see. Let's
nice
look at the equipment.
photo.
Let's see. So this is the tank here. It's bare bottom, flow. I got 4 vortex to MP40s. I got 2 Nero 7s. So there's good randomized flow in here. Um,
Mhm.
it's a little
Hey,
strong in some
Rich,
areas. Yeah.
what's your photo cycle? Are you on a 12, 13?
So the halides are on for 5.5 hours a day. The LEDs they start coming on at 7 a.m. and they turn off at 9 p.m. So it's a 14-hour day, but with intensity, you could probably shave like 3 hours off of that because there's only like my LEDs without the halide, right? With just the LEDs on, okay, the two bars and the two blades across the top corals, they'll see 300 par. So that means the bottom is getting like 80 par or something like that. So it's not a ton of light. So that type of par will be probably about I'd say 10 or 11 hours of the day, right? And then the halide comes on, and now across the top of the corals, it's about 600 on most of them. The top of the stags will get more obviously because they're almost at the water surface. Middle corals right here. This is about 500. Down here, I measured last week. This is roughly about 350. So I don't really have the only time I get spots like less than 300 par, like shadowed areas, like right here. or like obscure areas in the corners that are kind of off the path. But then again, you get close to the glass, you get that reflection, it shoots back up. So, but that's generally it. I'm not doing anything crazy with the photo period, but I've been ramping it up a little bit just to see the reaction, and so far it's been good. The corals have been actually increased alkalinity by ramping the halide up a half hour, which I found pretty interesting. Because I'm watching you and Alan speak, and I tried it. I'm probably gonna go up to 6 hours eventually.
So
But
so walk me through your big three.
okay, let's take this off. Let's take a look. So let's see what the hell's going on with my alkalinity right now. So there's my DKH from the Aquawiz, right? What the hell is it? It's I can't focus. It doesn't let me focus. 8.1 is my DKH right now. Okay.
Okay.
The Aquawiz checks every hour. I usually hold on, let me put it on here so you guys can see it's easier. 1 second. I usually have my screen on. This is like I slave the controller to here so I could see what the hell's going on without squinting like you just did. Okay, 1 second. Now we'll be able to see.
So while you're doing that,
So there's my
so
DKH.
Mark, welcome to the chat. Dom, how you doing out there, brother? Yes, that Pang's Blue Monster is awesome. Pang's Blue Monster is probably the same piece as uh, Blueberry Fantasy from Reef Nation, in case
I have
anybody's
that.
wondering.
I have the
Um,
other one right here too. This is what the hell? No, it's not Blueberry Fantasy. It's the other one. Wow, Terry Wow Factor. Except it's a
okay,
little
that
shingale.
one
This
has
one's
a little bit more saturation to it.
yeah, a little green to the body. But it is. This one's been here getting big from it. This was a tiny little nub, man, when I got it. So,
Right.
but they're
Hmm.
very similar. They're very similar.
Hmm.
Okay, so now as far as the calcium, you're talking calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. Is that the top three, or
Yeah,
phosphate,
just
nitrate? What are
just
we
trying
talking?
to get an idea of where your set points are on your
Okay,
reef, like typically where
so
you're keeping it.
okay, so right now I'm not. It's not like where I'm keeping it. It's kind of where it is. But right now the nitrates are low. That I checked like a few days ago. They were like 4 ppm. The phosphate. Now the phosphate. I did let the phosphate go up for a little while. I don't like the way the system looks when my phosphate goes high. I had my phosphate as high as zero point 0.3, and I just don't get the good coloring on a lot of the corals, especially the ones that aren't getting baked, because this isn't a frag tank. Don't get me wrong. If I give everything 600 par uniform across the top, I could overcome the masking of zooxanthellae in the tissue and keep the good color. But when they're getting 300 par, like an F-flow, for instance, they turn solid brown. And anyway, so I'm doing what you don't supposed to do, and I run GFO. I have Rophos, and I've been having it in there, and it keeps my phosphate about zero point 0.1, maybe 0.12, maybe 0.14, maybe 0.06, but it doesn't go to zero, and it doesn't get above 0.15, and I get the fast growth, man. And I like run. I know Alan doesn't pay attention to the phosphate, but it didn't work out for me in this particular balance yet, and it probably could, but I'd probably have to go through some kind of phase that I really don't want to go to, man. Not now. The tank's kind of rocking. I don't want to have a setback to have it look good again. So um, that's it. So yeah, phosphate around that range, usually around zero point 0.1. Nitrates are kind of low. I have been adding nitrate or ammonium bicarbonate dosing. And as far as the calcification, 3 gallons a day of calc wash that goes into here. It's almost a strip. Okay, it ends up being about 3 gallons a day, and that's not enough to keep up with the calcification. So I have just a Kamoa doser here, and it doses Ulfa Reef. I'm dosing 180 ml a day, and then I got magnesium. I think I'm dosing like 40 ml a day of magnesium or something like that. My magnesium is a little high on my last ICP, so I got to cut back. And what we got here? Battery backup for the return pumps. This runs my return pumps for 8 hours. This runs some flow pumps probably for 12 hours. Just gives me enough time to get home and hook my generator up. There's all my moonshine crap that I don't use anymore. Yeah, backup return pumps are the same ones that I use, so it's just a quick swap for a cleaning. Um, there's all my ESV stuff that I haven't been dosing, but I have it. I'll use it one day. What else you got for me, Perry? Because I'm going to move on to the next tank.
No, you're good, man. I just wanted to wrap my mind around, like kind of what you're doing with the system as far as I don't really lean on any exact things for parameters either. I just am trying to get an overall picture of the system in my mind. I've got a good picture of it now with the photo
Yeah,
period, the
it's a high energy
equipment,
system, Perry. You know, it's
really,
I mean,
really
look,
high energy.
I see no difference with the nitrates. Like I bumped my nitrates up to 15. I let them go down to 10. I mean, listen, when I dosed ammonium chloride, not ammonium bicarbonate, I did notice it fueled algae. Like my rocks are really clean. Like I have urchins in here. I don't have coralline on the rocks. The urchins eat everything, right? And there's
Mhm.
no algae really visible in this tank anywhere. The rocks are bare, right? So when I was dosing ammonium, I was dosing on like 60 a day just to keep trace nitrates going. I noticed my rocks were getting like green shit on them. So and I didn't really, I mean, the tank grows fast enough. I couldn't tell if I had an increase in growth or not because it's growing fast, so I can't tell. And now here we are. Now this is plumbed in, right? So, you can see the pipes. Those are three drain lines that go right here into that sump right there. Okay, and then it has a return pump that feeds it. Now this is it's nothing special. This is a 100-gallon Fiji cube. It's like a rimless tank. I was like kind of in a rush to get a tank. I probably should have got a custom one, but I bought this. They were on sale. And let me get the right lens for that. 1 second. I have to change to the orange filter on this because the LEDs are so blue. I gotta filter out all that blue light.
While you're doing that, Dom, if you're out there, you don't get the smooth skins, but you definitely get those crazy ass echinatas.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
those Aussie, um, which ones are they? Help me, Rich. My mind is having a hard time. That type of echinata? What is that one? The ice echinata, ice blue echinata. That one is probably one of my favorites. Ice fire, yeah. Yeah, I know, man. You can see I've got a lot of gray hair. I'm getting old. You out there, Rich? Or did you fall off? I think we might have lost Rich for a second there.
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
there he
Yeah.
is.
1 second. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Oh, do your thing, bud. So I'll go ahead and talk while he's while Rich is getting set up to give us the practice. So we've had a little walkabout of Rich's system. We're talking about a 14-hour photo period here with a high energy system, higher nutrients, at least trying. Looks like his acropora are becoming the actual filter on the system. I would imagine at some point Rich is probably going to have to get his skimmer going a little bit more on the dry side, and he's probably going to have to start enhancing more feedings because the corals are literally becoming the filter in that system. You can just see the way it's working. As far as what he was referencing with that film algae that was building up, I believe that's just surfaces and competition. I think what's happening with his rock there in that main system is his rock is so clean that the corals are out competing any possible space for nutrients, and so there's no capacity for algae to form,
By the
and so
way,
that's
don't.
a testament to a reef that's got a holobiont that is dialed in and is actively in the process of filtering out nutrition,
So
organic.
that this they'll be skewed by this skimmer. It's on. It got its year cleaning today, Perry. I had this thing soaking in acid today, so it's a little wetter than normal. I usually don't skim like that, but I have to dial it in. I
Yeah,
just got it
yeah,
running a
totally.
couple hours ago.
I get it.
So
Yeah.
here we go. Now this is a 5 foot long by what the hell is this? 2 feet front to back, and then it's 16 high. This one. This is 100 gallons. So let's dive into this sucker and see the colors. This one has some really popping coral colors, but the corals are still small for the most part in here. But I have some really nice pieces in here. Are you able to hear me?
Oh, I'm following along.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if I was muffled. Okay, so A lot of little collector pieces in here. That's a little shit frag of Sanjay's Photon. Nothing to look at yet. This is Pieces of the Ocean Dream Catcher. Now that's that tan one I showed you. Told it turns pink in here. Okay, big difference. This is a Candyland. Okay. This is a I don't know. It's a cherry bomb. I've been sitting on for like 2 years. I'm about to throw the thing in the garbage. I'm kidding, but this is ARC firecracker, not ARC. Reef firecracker. Okay, I got a big colony of that in the other tank. This is like a wild ASD type. That's the same granulosity that I showed you in the other tank, but this one's an LED. The wild piece, because when I got it, they gave me two. This is a Princess Peach. The colors in here pop a lot more than the other tank.
Yeah,
Even though
beautiful.
now this is the Battle Coral Strawberry Fields, and then here's the AV99 Orange Crush. Same. This one, I mean, a little different. That's the Strawberry Fields. A little different. This is a Spook City Tenuous and Battle Corals. This is a Disney, which is super duper fuzzy right now. Happy. This is what the hell is this one? I just got this recently. This is TSA something fantasy. I forget. I got it marked down. This is the Budgie Smuggler that I can't get to grow. Been sit on that sucker for a long time. One day. This is some lineage tenuous. This is another cherry bomb variety type. It's nice. This is the Orange Passion. Okay, look at that sucker growing, man. Look at the tips exploding, you know. And I this was a frag. I got this in July, so I don't have it that long. This was a frag in July. I'm already at like, colony size, so it's growing quick. I even have a frag made to grow a second colony right there. That's gonna be my second colony. When it gets a little bigger, I'm gonna move that one to the other system, and you know what that is.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
Yeah, dude, the splicing on that is pretty insane. What else we got here? So this is different Disney. Now this is interesting. The guy in Florida sells this. This guy is a coral. What the hell is this? Coral reefers. This is a PC rainbow that grafted on him, and his whole colony looks like this. It's like marbled green and red throughout the whole thing. So
That's
I got
funky.
Yeah, dude. I got that back in September. I'm pretty pumped about that one because it has the same contrast as this thing, but these are notoriously like don't grow well for a lot of people. Where a PC rainbow grows for everybody. So hopefully it's a big colony soon. This is Avengers, Lineage Avengers. It's interesting. Look, it looks like Tussi's granulosa a little bit, but we'll see when it gets bigger.
Looks like it has a little more orange in it.
Yeah. That's some new little thing. Nothing to look at. Now this is the what the hell, the not the Wolverine. What's the other one? The Pink Floyd, right? Now this one's growing. Though. You see it shut out the growth tips, where the one in the halide tank isn't actively growing.
That's gorgeous, dude.
Yeah, it's growing. It's once they start, once they're like that, man, it's just fascinating like that. My buddy gave me this. Now, this was all messed up in his tank. This was a lineage Acrolandia that he almost killed. I've only had it for like a month, but honestly, this is one of those smoke and mirror corals. It sucks. I don't know, these guys spent a fortune on this coral. I think it's dog shit. But it's one of those things you got to put on a blue light. Now, this one, however, this one will knock your socks off. This is SK Jackpot Tenuous, right?
Oh my god.
This one's a nice one. And I have
that's the fire coral right there, dude.
Another piece right there. But so basically, my buddy had this, and he was killing it. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, he gave it to me. He's like, see if you could bring it back. So I cut all the dead out of it, and I made two pieces, and it's coming back, man. The colors are insane. Now this is a lineage Angry Birds, but it came in pretty screwed up. But again, this is another. Like at the moment, it's smoke and mirror coral. If I put white light on, that thing disappears. It's like a ghost. This is a wild home wrecker type. It's not non-lineage. And then over here is what I'm growing. This is a lineage home wrecker. It's been growing pretty good. So, listen, I lost my colony with the copper, so I'm regrowing that. That's another confetti. Holds different color in this spot. What else? This is Pieces of the Ocean flamethrower. That's a nice one.
That's really nice.
Same, dude. That's another confetti. This is Battle Coral's Blood Bank. Sorry, I can't. It doesn't let me focus with this software, but that's another nice one. What else? Oh, that's a nice spath. That's a Reef Magma. What else? This is Spiral the Dragon.
Okay.
Bubble Bath Unicorn. One of them anyway. Got a bunch of them. And little frags of all kinds of shit. What's anything big here? Oh, this is an interesting one. This is the Route 66 Cicero Saint. So this is like a red version of a Paletta Pink Tip. It's like that same type, but it's more red.
Man,
That's
that's killer.
yeah. And then this is the Raising Reef Blue Flame. This is
Hmm.
so this is better in a white spectrum, so it's a little
Sure.
muted. And oh, this is a Millie that's pretty sick. It might even be a Prostrata. It's another wild piece I had that I grew from a frag. It looks like it's got a lot of potential.
Oh yeah, that's really pretty.
Oh,
Got a
this
little
was
bubble
a
gum in it.
yeah. It's like it's purplish now. It's getting blue tips. We'll see what it turns into. This was all green, two specks, like 20 months ago, right? It was part of a frag pack, and it's a splice. I mean, it started growing the red out now. You could actually see some of the colors. So that was a score because it was like probably ended up being $40. I'm getting like a splice out of it. So oh, and I forgot about this one here. This is the RMF Superman Stag. It's like basically a red version of an alberhensis, and it gets like these ice blue tips. It's a nice coral.
Yeah,
It's
that's killer.
a little temperamental with the growing. Sometimes it'll branch out. Like I cut it a couple times, and then sometimes it won't. I don't know. It's a pain in the ass, but that's basically what's going on here. Now these rocks in here, this is from the guy Chandler Rock. So these all come pre-drilled with like holes. So all the plugs kind of sit right in there. Originally, I had frag racks, and I got sick of looking at it. So I mean, like this is like almost like a display, like this with a lot of little
Wow.
holes. Right, and
I
then
gotta I gotta tell you, Rich, like when you really look at the setup, what I'm studying is I don't really think live rock is necessary if you have that much acropora. And
yeah,
so you're
yeah.
you're you're carrying so much biology, microbiology in that holobiont that even though it's not connected and it's its own system, it looks the rock looks mature. And for all practical purposes, it doesn't really matter if the material is rock or faux rock because you're just using the outer surfaces. And really, I honestly, I wouldn't really want inner surfaces, to be honest with you. I would probably prefer to have that hard outer surface versus a very porous surface because you now have all them acropora, you have less competition. Now that bacteria holobion's been established in that aquarium, there's no need for any biomedia. There's no need for any additional live rock. And just to expand upon that, for people who want to understand what he's got going on there, if you want to have a little bit more of an idea as a reference point, something that I would support big time is go back and look at one of the first frag garage Beyond the Reef, and it's an interview with Leonardo. And if you look at some of his strategies, he doesn't use biomedia, he doesn't use live rock. He's sort of just lets the acropores just grow out like literally on their own
Well,
on
that's a
whatever he
little
puts them.
deceiving though, because you got to understand he has rock from 20 years ago, right? So he starts his systems out. Either he still says he puts rock in all his sumps, and what happens is he piles all his acros from other systems. So like most of us don't have the luxury to start a tank out and just pack in 100 acros to fill the whole damn
Right,
tank
right.
to have some biome. So we're buying these little frags. You'll never get that biome enough from the frags to avoid the ugly stage and whatever imbalances you get in the beginning. So
Mhm.
that's why I have like in my display, I have this is 70 something pounds of Australian light rock. Now, why did I spend the money on it? Right? Because I'm impatient, right? I wanted to have that biome. Okay. I had that rock curing for 3 months in a Rubbermaid, 100-gallon Rubbermaid. And when I put it in there, I put my acros from a 25-gallon nano tank that I was traveling with when I was moving, and I put them in there the first day, and I didn't lose any of them to the transfer. The tank was ready to go with acros from day one. Now if I was Leonardo and I had all those corals, or even in the position I am now with all these well, that's perfect. Actually, you bring me to my next system. When you're ready, I'll go to the next system if you have anything to say.
Oh, no, no, no. I just was really, it was more of a compliment. I think the two systems are different. And
Oh,
there's probably, I think one looks more like, you're going for that natural display. The other one is what you were intended was for it to be a frag system. And
mhm.
I love your idea that you would prefer over racks, you would prefer the Chandler rocks. And it
Yeah.
just so happens that probably in the process, it's now starting to look like a beautiful display. It just shows
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to get there. And then you have two different tanks with two different strategies, but you're getting there with both. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show, everyone out there that you literally have two different strategies with two different systems, but you're getting very similar results.
Yeah.
So that's a compliment, a
So
very big compliment.
So it's funny you brought up Leonardo because when I set up this system, I had his videos in mind, right? Because being that I had what I call them fluffer corals, right? Like the stuff that's nice and grows fast and has volume. So this tank was like really packed last year when I set this system here is now, let's see, March 15th is going to be a year. So what are we at, 10 months or something like that? So at the time when I set those up, this system was packed with giant colonies everywhere that I started ripping out and I put them in here to start. Okay, that was part of my biomedia to start the system. And all the rock was dead. However, this two little fishes reborn media was in a basket in that sump for about 8 or 9 months. So essentially, this was my live rock. This was covered in coralline. This had all kinds of pods and starfish, and unfortunately, aptasia, and then whatever. All the live microbes were on there. And again, I had a system where Acro was thriving from day one, but this time with dead rock, which was new to me. Okay, the coral mass and this was able to overcome the dead rock system where I've actually the last time I did dead rock was a long time ago and I failed miserably. All right. So anyway, let's go about the system here so I can show you. So this is SCA aquariums. This is a 110-gallon tank. It's 5 by 2 by 18 high. This is an identical tank. Okay. This one is lit by a T5 hybrid, which is off, and it has the knockoff radions. These are X30 blues. It's basically the blue version of the A8 SEs. These, listen, I'm expecting them to break any day, but they haven't broken. They work. They were like $165 each. If they break, I got a spare. It is what it is, right? I have real radions here. These do the job here. Save me a shitload of money. And over here is 4 AI blades. There's one glow, as you can see, and then 3 other grows. Okay, so this tank, very uniform lit, like almost like T5, right? There's no shadows. There's not much shimmer. We'll get to that tank in a minute, though. Now they're both got a little hodgepodge of plumbing. They both come down this way, and here's the sump, which is basically just a 75-gallon tank that I made. I put in a couple. The filter socks are like a really big mesh. I change them like once a week, so they're not like over filtering the water. Same Bubble King skimmer, just some live rock. There's 2 return pumps, so if one fails, I still got flow going. Okay, my probes and then the hydro shit and okay, same thing. Kalkwasser. In this tank, I think it's like 2 gallons a day, and there's about 160 ml of all for Reef going in. That's it. They run identical. Okay. Now, as far as what's in here, let's see. So oh, by the way, the flow. Now we'll get to these. Unfortunately, I had a problem with one of these, and I'll show you them when we get back to the desk. These are the JCOD DMPs. They're like the knockoffs of the Vortex. They work great, but I had a problem with one, and I'll go over it. We got Strats. I got some Zoas in here. LASD, some other Ghanis. What do they call this one? Hollywood,
Was that an
or
orange
whatever.
shoulder right there, Rich?
Yep, orange shoulder in there. Copper
Yeah,
band. I have copper bands in all my tanks. I train them. I hand feed them all. Red
scalp
Sea
man.
Salmon. This fish here. I'm gonna have to get him out eventually. The hippo, but I like look. They get big fast.
Oh yeah.
All right, what do we got? We got a Paletta pink tip. Some wild smoothie. I don't know what it is. Maybe a granny. I'm not sure. This is so this piece here is interesting. When I bought the purple monster from the guy, he gave me a like a little encrustment of a strawberry shortcake he threw in there, and this is the piece. So it has like it has like a it's kind of what am I trying to say? It's uh, whatever. It's a sentimental value. That's what I'm trying to say. A sentimental value because I got it the day I got the purple monster. That's another confetti. That's a Wolverine. This is another Starfire, right? But this one in this tank, it doesn't table. It kind of grows like a bush. Same coral, pieces from same exact coral. Got a Hawkins. What do we got? Another pink lemonade over here. This is a Maleficent. We got a confetti back there. A Joker 2.0.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
We got some wild stuff here. Some wild tenuous. There's some wild table. Another Maleficent. Another pink lemonade. And what we got? So
Hey,
those are
Rich, have you made any changes since doing your last WWC video?
lots of changes. Lots. As far as as far as the maintenance on the tank, or as far as like inside the tank.
I'm just asking for poor boy one.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so yeah, the main thing that I changed, right? So I increased my feedings tremendously. I started soaking all my food in Celcon to increase the fatty acids. I started dosing Brightwell Restore. Okay, more fatty acids, and when I feed, I cloud up the water, and what that did was it kind of made the coral tissue like thick and healthy, and increased the growth. And ironically, you would think like by polluting the tank, your nutrients would go up. The opposite happened. The coral mass growing lowered my nutrients, like exactly what Alan does. I had a very similar effect. This is a really cool coral here. Now this is a wild table that I bought a little frag from last year. It had the potential. It's like I don't know, man, red and yellow with like freaking blue tips. This is gonna be interesting when it gets real big. I don't know
It's
what
it,
it is.
it's very cool looking. It's almost two tone.
Yeah, and this is some Valley Shortcake, and this is a crawl. I don't know. I'm sick of this one. This is the TCG Northern Crush. I can't focus on this. It's all right, whatever. But this is one of like 6 bubble baths. I mean, dude, I'm bubble bathed out the ass. I don't know how many bubble. I got to get rid of some of these things, but this
Bubble
is an
bath.
old school coral back here. You might appreciate that. That's a neon green vermiculata, man. You don't see that too often these days, even though it's used to be very common.
Hey, Rich, do you ship?
Yeah, I do, but not, this time of year, no.
It's not
I
for
was
me. I'm
shipping.
just asking for somebody out there. It looks like Frank Rizzo,
Oh, Frank Rizzo.
4701.
Yeah, I do ship Frank. I do. It's just I'm not like battle corals or anything like that. I mean, like if I cut up a pack or something like that, I'll ship them. Sometimes guys reach out like you did, and go through what I have. Yeah, but in the spring when the weather gets a little nice, I plan on shipping a whole bunch to just lessen up some of my growth. And I mean, I charge pretty good rates for the most part too. So, but everything I was shipping got on hold. But anyway, we'll go take a look at the other one real quick, and then here we go. So this system
Frank
here.
Rizzo says he's in Lyra. I'm not sure where that is, but I
Oh,
I,
okay.
I would imagine it's only continental, right?
No,
US.
Lear's Long Island Reef Association. I'm a member,
Oh,
so
okay.
So
I
Frank, you won't
apologize.
have to ship. I'll meet you at a meeting then.
Uh,
Unless
yeah,
Lear is something else.
you guys aren't far away. Yeah.
I
Oh,
unless
wow.
he's Yeah, so this is you see,
A little
okay, because I have racks here, right? So I'm able to get some lower par areas. So I tend to like shove zoas underneath those racks just so I don't bake them, because a lot of times when I put them like out like this, the polyps will be kind of closed, they'll get too much par. Now these were all in my display, believe it or not, and they were doing great. But what happened was when I added that copper band in there last year, he decided to rip them all apart. Okay.
really.
Um, Oh, he was an asshole. But I once I got him eating the scallop, he stopped. But look, my Scully is still recovering. Dude, this thing I can't believe is still alive. He ripped this. You see the corner still
Oh,
missing?
yeah.
He ripped that thing. Perry, there was only like half left. I thought it was gonna die, but it's coming back.
They're resilient. I had one that went down, it was almost completely dead and it came back. So yeah, they're pretty resilient. Once they get over whatever it is, they'll come back.
Look at the polyp extension in this tank, though. Hold on. Look, like this is a blue flame. Let me shut the flow down for a second. This is a blue flame back here. Look how freaking fuzzy
Wow.
that thing. Dude, the polyp extension in this tank. Now, Ironically, this tank is very low nutrient, Perry. My phosphates in this tank are like 0.04 right now, and my nitrates are probably freaking zero. I'll dose nitrate in here once in a while. This is a Princess Peach, which grows super duper fast in here compared to the other system. This is a Bahama Mama Millie that grows weird. I don't know what Tangerine Dream. I got a lot of repetitive corals, man. Another pink. This pink lemonade is perfect in here. Super duper
Wow,
healthy.
that's
This
gorgeous,
one
dude.
never missed a beat when I had that black shit growing on the other ones. So
That's a
uh,
gorgeous looking coral. Look at that chunky thing right there.
this
That
that's a
chunker.
that's a ORA juicy grape. There's a colony of it back there.
I like that.
Yeah, I have it in the other tank too. Another bubble bath, Perry. Another freaking bubble bath.
Hey, man,
Uh,
it's a good coral, dude.
yeah, I'm just joking. I love it. That's why it's there. You know what? When it's fully colored up, man, it gets all kinds of crazy. It's probably like 5 colors in it when it's colored up all the way. What do we got from the top here? Let's see. Anything
You
interesting?
know what's funny too is I've got some old classics that you're gonna want to score down the road,
Oh hell yeah, dude! There's an old
like
classic right there. Vivid
the
Rainbow.
Greg Hiller Aquamarine Jewel is coming back.
Yeah, dude. I'm definitely loving that coral, Aquamarine Jewel. I haven't seen that in a long time.
It is
What do we
pretty,
have here?
man.
See the pink. I mean, look at that bubble bath, dude. You gotta love a bubble bath. Look at the colors that you get. But look at the tenuous that I do have in here. Look at the polyp extension on these things. Fuzzy as can be. These are just wild ones that I've had for like a year, so they're just starting to wake up and grow. Now this is an interesting. You see all these little boogers. Now I don't buy frags like that, right? To me, that's. So what happened was my buddy placed a $2,000 order with Thirsty Reef, right? And his tank just was falling apart. So he sent me the freaking order. I mean, these are all like these crazy name freaking tenuous that are a fortune. I couldn't name half of them. They're written on the plugs, but they're a lot smaller than what I'm used to. But I've been growing them for like 2 months. But anyway, I'm growing these suckers out, and some of them are starting to get really nice. You're starting to look like the pictures. I mean, but dude, that's a freaking home wrecker frag. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's a nipple. You know,
Right.
some of
I
the. I
think
mean,
the only strategy you can use with those little corals is to make sure that you have a system that's really, really kicking butt, and
yeah,
then add them into that. But I think I think the vendor should probably qualify the customer a little bit better and ask them like, what are you going to be doing with these frags? Do you have a new system or an existing?
yeah.
Because like when they're that small and then you're shipping them and they go through the stress and shipping and then they only have so many polyps and everything. It's like, I'm not trying to knock the vendor. Okay. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying
No,
that
but you know,
your
that,
survivability rate is going to be much less. And to me, that is why I think, okay, I'm just going to say it with love. I think Adam from Battle Quarrels, probably in my opinion, for the big ones, um, that I've dealt with. So this is only based on my
yeah,
experience. Um, I think he's incredible with the size of the quarrels and the health of the quarrels. The way they
phenomenal.
show up almost can guarantee that everything will have great color right out of the bag, polyps right out of the bag, and usually they're big enough that they're gonna be able to go ahead and start taking off straight away, even in a newer system where you're starting to establish it. So I would like to make sure that when we talk about something like, this, for example, because this is a concern, but we also then wrap into the positive side and highlight somebody who is really putting out some
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing frags that are affordable. And look, like for those who establishing a tank, I think the best thing we can do is go with the most basic generic stuff that you can in the beginning. Get the biggest,
Yep.
chunkiest stuff you can and get that going and then slowly start swapping things out, and by then you can have another tank where you're sort of getting things going and you can transition like what Rich has done and put them on over into the other thing. Rich, you got a question about calc? I know you
Yeah,
talked about
yeah,
that.
see. So
Go ahead.
Frank, yeah, it's 24/7 on the calc. I just set it for all day long, all night. I couldn't dose it just at night because this is my primary means of dealing with calcification. So I'm dosing in the one system. It's like 13,000 ml and then the other system is like 9,000 ml. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like 2 and change gallonage. So can't do that in 12 hours. Oh, so yeah, the point with that stuff, not to like, talk bad about a vendor or anything like that. I'm not even going there. What I'm saying is the fucking things are tiny, right? So they're exclusive frags. Now I didn't buy them. Um, I would kind of buy better specimens myself if I was to do it, but
Mhm.
guys like they go spend thousands on radions. They'll spend, thousands on
Right.
their ICPs and their moonshines, get the best of everything, right? And like, screw it, I'm gonna buy the best corals too. And they'll spend a couple $1,000s on some little boogers like that, right? And think they're gonna have a banging tank. And what happens? Those things won't grow. They'll sit there and they'll go dog shit. But if they were to start the tank with biomass, with a Bill Murray, with a Milka Stylo, with the corals that grow, fill the tank. I call them fluffers. Fill the tank with fluffers. Start with a couple exclusive frags. When the fluffers get in the way, get too big, you start pulling them out one by one. Put an exclusive frag there if that's your goal. If it's not your goal, enjoy the fluffers because I have them in my tank. I love some of them. There's Milka Stylo in all my tanks because that color is like it's hard to replicate. That purple with the yellow tip, it's just insane.
Can we expand upon that? Because I think it also gets the demand for the mineral consumption going. And I think that's a key thing too in the big picture, not necessarily from the feeding context of what they're getting for their polyps, but I like to see the minerals starting to deplete. And when I start seeing that happening, that makes me feel like things are starting to go in a good general direction. So a Milka stylo or any stylo or purple one even, they're big and taking that big
Yeah,
three. And by doing so, they can sort of get the system starting to hum from a
true.
mineral consumption standpoint, which does weigh into the overall metabolism. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm charging here. One second. I think what the hell's
Do
going.
your thing, bro. No
Yeah.
worries.
Let me make sure my charge is on.
What up, Matt? Welcome to the chat, brother.
What the hell's going on?
So yeah, I mean, we're at this point. I mean, dude, I just can't even. I can't even tell you how in awe I am. I mean, I'm not trying to stroke your ego or nothing. I'm just being straight
Yeah.
with you, bro. You've got so much killer. I can't even like, man, like, bro, I can't even wrap my mind around all of these named corals that you have, and and the lineages. So while we're right here, I want to jump in real quick into that. I want to share with Rich sort of what is the right thing to do if you think you have a pearlberry, but yet you cannot source the origins of its lineage back to ORA. How does Rich handle that situation? And how does so? In other words, if you get a coral and some guy says, yeah, it's a sort of a pearlberry, but I don't have, I can't tell, and 100%, for example, but you can look at it and you can tell it's a pearlberry. What do you do? What's your thought on that? Uh-oh. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. If you could hear me, refresh. Um, so anyway, it's come up before where some people, are wanting to then take that and name it a pearlberry when they don't have verifiable lineage. So I think the right thing to do is to always make sure. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I got booted. I don't know what happened.
So I don't know if you caught me there or not.
Pearlberry.
Yeah, so if you caught one in a like, let's say you got a little pack and you got a little trade thing, and they said, "Yeah, it's not, it's a pearlberry type, but I don't have any lineage on it," and you can pretty much tell it's pearlberry.
Hmm.
Tell me about your practice on that. What do you how do you look at that? Like, uh, what's your take on that?
Pearlberry to me is one of those corals that you can't mistake. I know a real pearlberry when I see it. I don't know how to tell somebody that it's kind of like a trained eye. You see, now the thing is, now we even have a difference in opinion because I thought the newer piece I got from Jason Fox didn't look like a traditional pearlberry, and the one that I showed you that color wise looks like a pearlberry. And I actually, it's funny you say that because I even did a poll on Instagram last year because I got a different pearlberry. Now I knew it was a fake. It was actually it was sold to me as a pearlberry, but it ended up being the Vin. Okay.
Mhm.
So I did a poll just to see what would happen, and I would say 60% of the guys knew it was a fake. Okay, but 40% of the guys were duped. So the thing is like through not knowing, man, that the coral's like getting on like another identification. People like, to me, that's a real pearlberry. If somebody's looking at a fake one, calling it a pearlberry, and it gets passed around enough, then people will be like, "That's."
So where I'm really going with that though, Rich, is like, okay, so for example, I have a coral in my system. It was called Purple Snow. It was from Bacon, who was Reef of the Month on Reef to Reef. I don't know,
Yeah.
back in I don't know, years ago, years ago. Anyway, he's since been out of the game for a while. Now, my personal take is I extend the original name. Now, I know that once he breaks down that tank and once that coral is no longer a coral that he has possession of, I now know that it's open for me to rename or name or whatever I want at that point. Now, for me personally, I continued the name. I just said it's Perry's Purple Snow. Really, what I'm looking to do is get into kind of like the ethical thing to do with lineage. For example, you've got a couple granulosas that are wild
Mhm.
that is the same one, but it's in two different tanks, and they can
Yeah.
take on a different color scheme from one tank to the other. One might look very close to two C's. Now you can't say it's two C's granulosa because it didn't
No.
slide through that lineage. That's more or less where I'm wanting your interpretation of how you understand that, and what do you
Well,
what is sort of your rule on that?
well, that's
Like,
how. Did you see how I showed you that Millie? I said it was ASD like. It's a wild ASD type. I didn't say it's a lineage one. Now that I basically do like that because we have to associate the corals with some familiarity, like familiarity. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I got you.
Familiarity. Okay, so we know what a rainbow loom is or a paletta pink tip, right? So we
Sure.
know what corals like that, like an ASD millie or back in the day a Palmer's blue millie, or remember Tyree Rogue millie, which is kind of gone with the wind because there's so many pink millies these days. But stuff like that, we associate them with corals that we're familiar with. So we because we probably don't know the scientific names of them, so we got to call them something. And if everybody's just naming the coral after themselves, it has no significance. It has no history. It has no bearing. Like, okay, Perry's Blue Millie. Where did it come from? When did it start? But if you said Tyrese, then we know it's could it potentially be from the 90s, early 2000s, or Jackson's tenuous, right? Why is that significant? Because of the era that it was. If I found that tenuous today, it would be a dime a dozen, and it would just be a blend of tenuous mixed in with the other ones. But it was the timing that what made that coral stand out. And Walt Disney's. There's wild Walt Disney's out there, Perry. Ones that are identical, and you'll get a guy call him. It's a big R Disney. Honestly, you don't fucking know. No, but there's so many Disneys out there right now that are identical. You couldn't tell a difference. Um, I would have shown you. I had a wild Disney and the real one from Pieces of the Ocean. You couldn't tell them apart. I killed them both though. But
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
It's just something worth like bringing up because when you get a tank, all right. So you've got four good sized systems and or displays, right? Like nice tanks. I mean, beautiful, absolute. I mean, I don't even know. Like, it's hard for me to even wrap my mind around how much acro you got going on. And when you get into that space, you're now getting into like, you're organized. Like, good for you, but some people
Sure.
aren't. And so I just wanted to touch on that because I think that some point we get into this place where you're in your tank and you're going, I bought it from this one, and this one, and now I'm looking at it, and darn it, if it's not the same thing.
That
And I
happens.
think that's when you really start looking at it and you start saying, okay, it's the name game. There's no way to get out of that at this point. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think we try to honor it as best as we can by if we buy it and then somebody says, okay, that's a Pang's blue, for example. Even though we know that there's another coral from
Yeah.
Reef Nation that's very similar in the help me Blueberry Fantasy, right? Similar
Yes.
coral. Um, so we know that those names do exist. Really, what I'm trying to say is like I think your tenuous is a great example actually because for it needed to maintain that Jackson's rainbow tenuous. It needed to because in the era of tenuous craze, it could have very easily been lost amongst many rainbows.
Sure.
So I really think that's important that when we start losing these things, because invariably, you know, as time moves on, many of these named tenuouses that are redundant are going to begin to fall off.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, look, if you think about it, right? Like a cherry bomb variety. Now, why do I say cherry bomb? Because that's what I associate those pink polyp tenuous with the most. There's a million
Mhm.
cherry bomb varieties, right? And then like something like a Jason Fox Jolt, which I think my tenuous falls into that category. It's like the green and blue polyp kind of tenuous. There's a million different kinds of those. Then you got the pale blue tenuous, like an Acrolandia, and you could turn those red, and you could take a jacked up photo with royal blues. And then you have those, and then you I don't know that SK jackpot though has some crazy polyps. That's in the Angry Bird kind of category. And then you get all the yellow ones that you could call pieces of the ocean outer worlds, right? You could give me any yellow tenuous, I'll turn it red in my tank, right? And you could call it an outer worlds. Now, if you're a piece of shit and you want to rob people, you can. You could get a wild home wrecker, turn it red, sell it as a home wrecker for $300 and make money. It really comes down to the individual, but there's so many close corals, and there is a name game. I have 20 examples in this tank, two different names, same coral. I could show you. It's just, I mean, we try our best. What can you do?
Well, listen, this gets into a different area, but I'm going to go ahead and go there because you know me, I like to get deep.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into like a quantum area and say that I believe wholeheartedly that when you get to a place where you go beyond and you over commercialize and you're getting to a place where you're losing love for for the coral itself, and you're doing it for money, not for love anymore, I believe that's when it starts to show up in your livestock, in the care of your
Yeah.
livestock. And I think that ultimately, if you're trying to take advantage of it, it's going to always, I don't like to use the word karma, but I do believe that
Yeah.
if you're doing it for all the right reasons, and we all need to make money for goodness sakes, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't want to come off the wrong way. What I'm saying is what you just said. When you're doing it knowingly and you're gaming and you're taking advantage, it will come back to you one way, shape, or form. It will. And we know in this hobby that right when you think you're at the highest of the highs, if you allow it to get to your ego, get ready. I'm just going to say, get ready because there's always something that can kind of bring you back down to earth. And so,
Especially with this,
especially with
especially
acropora, especially when you're dealing with
that right
very
there.
sensitive. Yeah, which go ahead and show me again.
This okay. So speaking of,
So yeah,
I
let's
know
go ahead
I've
on
caught
into
this.
that. That's important.
This is not an issue because I do regular maintenance and I have time to do regular maintenance, which is very important. But for Joe Schmo, who's too busy working and doesn't check his shit, this would have killed your tank. So this is the wet side to a DMP 65. Now these are the knockoff Ecotex. I have it apart right here. So okay, so I'll show you what it is. So I took it apart. Now I took them apart to clean them yesterday or 2 days ago, I forget. And I look at the magnet, and what do we have? We have a cracked magnet, and there's a little bit of rust. So
Is it
basically,
swelling?
yeah. So it swells, and it now. I had an ICP done 2 weeks ago. It showed no concentration of metals, and I cleaned these about I want to say about 6 weeks or 2 months ago was the last time I cleaned them. So it hasn't been long enough to cause damage. Like I caught it, but if I let this go 3, 4 more months, this could have nuked
Is
my
that a
tank.
crack in the housing?
Yeah, yeah. So the water gets inside here somehow, and then the magnet swells and cracks the housing. Now I have 6 of these, right? The other 5 are fine. This one's cracked. Now I have a dilemma. I'm not spending thousands of dollars on new flow pumps, right? These wet sides are $40 each or 30 something dollars each shipped.
Mhm,
So I'm just gonna buy a bunch of them and I'm gonna check them routinely. That's all. Because even
mhm.
if they do crack, um, I'll catch it. It's not like it's going to crack and blow up and nuke the tank in a day. This happens slowly. Like it's more like people who lose their tanks to stuff like this. It's more of a neglect thing. Like
Well,
there's
let's expand upon that. It's
yeah,
important that we do
yeah.
because there are people that spend a very expensive amount of money on that power head, and I'm not going to say the name. I'm going
Well,
to let
well,
it be,
it happens with
and
those too.
it's doing it with them.
Yep, it
And
happens. Listen,
when
any piece of machinery.
I'm paying $600, I'm looking for something that I can be that guy that you were describing earlier. I'm sorry, Rich, but this is with me. This is why I'm gonna say this because it needs to be said. If I'm putting out a $600 freaking pump, then if it's showing signs like that on a six hundred
Yeah.
dollar pump, bro, I'm telling you right now, like that ain't right. And I'm
Well,
just gonna stand on that right there because otherwise, I do like you. I just take my phone, put in a calendar event for every 2 weeks to service my pumps, and I put a reminder on my phone, and I just go with the cheap pumps, and I don't ever think about buying an expensive pump again. So
well,
that's where I sit with it.
Perry, I have no sponsors. I have no allegiance. I use all kinds of products. So Ecotech, I could say the name, right? It happens to them. But this is JCOD. This is 10 months old, but I paid nothing for this. I deserve this. People would be happy if I killed my tank with this. But I caught it because I do my maintenance. But this happens with Ecotech as well. You got to do your
Hmm.
maintenance because you can't just say, okay, I have Ecotech all over the tank, right? You can't just say, hey, I spent $470 on this. It's never going to fail. Or I bought in a biz for $2,000. It's never going to fail. I worked on the water for 22 years. Okay. I ripped apart diesel engines, electrical shit, all kinds of stuff. If I learn anything with salt water, everything will fail in salt water. Corrosion,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, you could have some metals that won't corrode, like titanium and aluminum doesn't corrode the same way. But mechanical failures happen in salt water, especially on moving parts. Okay. So, you know, don't have a false sense of security because you spent a lot of money on the best piece of equipment.
Right.
Check it because this brings me into my paranoia. Why I do ICPs? It's not to chase the trace elements. It's because people reach out to me nonstop with their tanks with issues locally online. Okay, I rescued many tanks from metals. This is why I come to do my monthly ICPs with an MS test kit because I already caught myself with copper. I saved my buddy's tank with tin. I saved another buddy's tank who had like an RODI. He had all kinds of shit going. He had like vanadium, zinc, which is zinc shows up on all tests, but he had a couple different metals. My point is, you would have no indicator without an ICP to check for these metals except for coral death, which is why with the amount of corals I have here, I'm not saying for the average person, but when you have a big grown out coral, do an ICP every 3 months. It's $65 could potentially save your corals. You know,
I'm not ever gonna say don't maintain your stuff. If you ever followed any of the content that I put out, I do my
oh
power
no,
head
no, not to insinuate that.
every
No,
2 weeks. What I'm saying is, I get the knockoff 10 months. I get that, but what I'm talking about is if you're getting an MP60, for example, I think a brand new MP60 should go 5 or 6 years and it shouldn't have any
sure,
issues. If I'm going to
absolutely.
pay 600, because I can pay a
Well,
hundred
well, it's
for
eight
every
eight.
year.
It's almost 900 for one of those, by the way, an MP60. It's almost nine
Okay,
hundred.
so I'm really out of touch because I
Yeah,
can't afford that kind of stuff. I use Jabo stuff, but it doesn't matter either way. I'm not trying to say anything about anything.
yeah.
I think it is important to do your due diligence and to maintain everything. I just think for me personally, like I love the fact that like my light, for example, is an ATI 6 bulb. I've told everybody I'll stop using that when it dies. So you'll probably see me in about,
You'll have it
I don't know,
forever.
about 10 or 15 more years. I'll be into the LEDs by then. Who knows where we'll be? But no, I'm being facetious, but for real, there's something to be said about buying, with certain things, good, solid quality. But I'm the same way, dude. I would rather buy an inexpensive pump myself until prices get to where they're more reasonable.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, honestly, look, moving waters is like, does it really matter if you get 6,000 gallons an hour in a wide flow for one brand A or get it through brand B? The water's moving, right? It's not like, the function's the same, right? If one's going to break on you, obviously, then, it's different. But, this was one of six. We'll see if it happens tomorrow. My eyes are open to it now. So I'm going to be checking these routinely. Okay, and if I see any more fail, listen, I'll have extra wet sides. I'll change them, but I'm probably going to gravitate towards something else. But on all these tanks, I'm not going to spend $5,000 on flow pumps. I'll probably go to like, I don't know, some cheaper Jebo or something like that. Maybe the SOWs or some cheaper brand pump. Maybe I'll just go back to gyros on them. But even the gyros could fail. You know,
But
um,
look, man, I mean, you know, they're pricing themselves out of the market, and then they're cutting their customer service. And I won't even get into all that. I'll just say this, man, like there are products out there that you can get that you can treat nowadays disposal, and it is what it is. And I'm going to lean on it now. NSB Reefer, Matt out there said you can use an MP wet side on that pump.
Hey Matt, check it out. Look, this is what I'm doing because I didn't have an extra wet side yet. Well, I'll go one further. I have a what the hell is my little lens? Oh, so you'll laugh. So here's the J Cod wet side. This is the 60 wet side, and what do I have? I'm sorry, dry side, 60 motor, and I have a 40. This is an actual Ecotech MP40 dry wet side on a MP6 on a J Cod 60 dry side. Yeah, look at it. I don't know if you can see, but
That
it's
is crazy.
right. So a 40 wet side's working on a 60 dry side and two different brands. How crazy is that?
Well, I guess at the end of the day, it's just using
Yeah.
magnetics to spin the rotor on the other side.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Listen, I did it in a pinch. I didn't lose flow. I mean, I ordered some wet sides, so whatever. It works for now. I mean, that pump is kind of like I didn't really need the flow from that one anyway. So, but
Hey,
so
that's
now,
good to bring up, guys. Thank you for all that. I'm sure everyone out there, when they go back and watch this again, is going to want to hear about that. So, Rich, thank you for sharing that. That's
oh no,
killer
my
information.
pleasure. What the hell we were just talking about before this? I wanted to say something and I can't remember. Right before I went to the tank, we were speaking about something. Shit. All right, whatever. It'll come to me.
Yeah, we'll get back to. I mean, it'll pop up again, I'm sure. No, I mean, I was just talking about, like all of
Oh,
your
oh,
systems.
I remember.
Go
So,
ahead.
so now we were talking about these high priced items, right? So now this is the thing, Perry. I don't think these companies give a shit. Okay, there's a little bit of a dilemma, right? So you gotta understand they have a lot of corporate accounts. Okay, they have a lot of big tanks. They have a lot of wealthy customers. Okay, that what I have here is very small potatoes like a lot of their clientele, right? However, they're marketing to normal consumers like us, like this is the holy grail, right? So we feel this. It's kind of thing like we almost feel like this draw to buy these things. Like, wow, it's so expensive. I don't. It's normalized. I don't think it should be normalized to spend, the value of a vehicle on a reef tank. I mean, I don't know. It's absurd when you could. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at, Perry? You could spend $6,000 on flow pumps, or I could do it with Jabo SOW 20s for $600. Not to say that they're exactly the same, but you could get the job done. So it just gets annoying
Well,
that I have
here's
to
the
even.
thing. I think when we get through this year, it's going to be a tough year. I'm not going to get into anything to expand upon that. I just already can tell everybody that it's tough. Um, my heart and my love and my passion and everything is with everybody out there, regardless of whether we agree or don't agree. I think it's important to set that sentiment and that tone, because I think what things are going to be getting a little bit rougher, and when the dust settles, we're going to be back to kind of where we were in the beginning with this hobby, I think. And when we come back to it, we're going to come back to this space where it's going to be more about innovation with hobbyists, more about the hobbyist pushing the needle, the hobbyist inventing things, the hobbyist trying to accelerate where the hobby goes and not rely on manufacturers that have nothing, no skins in the game. And that's not my only issue, is they don't have skins in the game. They have a few people that go out there that they use as influencers, and
Yeah,
I could spend a year talking about that, but I'll leave it alone. Um, but that dynamic, when it shifts from we're trying to take your money to it shifts to we want to be a part of the hobby. Hear me out. When it shifts from I'm after your money to I want to support you in this hobby, that's when it will restore, and that's when they'll come back, and people will start spending money again in this hobby. But right now, I don't think people have expendable money, and I think the people who can afford it, yeah, they might. But we don't have it like that. And so I think it's really important right now is the livestock, the love, the hobby. Hone in on the things you can do, guys, out there, because right now it's getting
Yeah.
expensive for everything. And right now it's a good time to do the love, the compassion for the reef. What can I do to make this thing um, survive an economy that could be going in a direction that might not support
Right.
this hobby moving forward. So keeping that in mind without going into the politics, I think we have a hobby that is gonna be amazing again. And I think we're on the frontier of transitioning from a commercialized, overinflated, um, ego-driven mentality in reefing to where it's all about how can I make money. And I think it's going to come full circle back to where it was before, where it's the love of the hobby and it's the passion of clubs and interconnecting and doing what we're doing right now. People getting together, getting online, talking, picking up the phone on a Friday night and talking like, oh man, dude, this acropora looks so sick, man. Check out this photo. That's the shit. Serious, bro. That's the
Yeah.
shit that's missing. And I don't care what anybody says, bro. If they don't like it, I'm not really with it. I don't care. It's about love and passion from my angle. It's about restoring something that I believe has transitioned into show and tell. I'm better than you. And by no
Yeah.
means is anybody that has been on this program conflating with ego. But what I'm trying to say is that we're at a place where it's like learn how to enjoy what you have. Try to take really darn good care of those animals. They come all the way across the ocean. They never asked to sign up to this. And if we don't make that about them, then we screw up as a human, in my opinion. We screw up as humans because they didn't ask for this. And we are bringing them in our home and if we can stop treating them like decorations and start treating them like they're living organisms that deserve to be treated that way, then we will see this hobby go wherever the sky wants to take it. And I believe that's what we're on the frontier of. I believe that we're going to see some really crazy good shit come down the road with this hobby. And I'm excited. And I'm so
Mm.
stoked that you're here. And I'm stoked that you're sharing your system with me. And I'm stoked for everybody that's here that wants to be a part of it, bro. I couldn't be any more in a better spot right now with what I'm doing. I'm stoked,
Yeah, man.
and
It's
I hope
great.
you are too. You have every reason, bro, to just be absolutely over the moon, man.
Oh, I
Every
am, dude.
reason.
I'm glad there's people here to watch this besides me, you know. Without you, without people to share it with, it wouldn't be any fun, right? You need your buddies. But nah,
You
I'm on the
know,
same page, Perry, dude. I'm fucking loving the hobby. You know, the ego with some of the guys and you know, like even though like sometimes with like lighting, we always had like an ego. Oh, I gotta go 400 watts, 1,000 watt. You know, that was always like an ego thing. But like, you know, as a whole, I don't ego reef, man. I honestly just love looking at these corals and growing them. And like when I grow a coral I never grew before, I get that little giddy feeling like, ooh, my orange passion grew. You know what I mean? So it's about that. And then like, you know. Locally, guys come here and friends come by, and even local guys come and they'll buy corals from me. And I listen, Mark's talking about the prices of frags in Chicago by him. Mark, like locally, you know, like I have this little motto, right? I buy high, sell low. Okay, so but I just try to grow a lot of them, you know. So like the guys that are local to me where I don't have to ship, they get a pretty good deal on stuff, and I get to bullshit with people and make friends, and then we share ideas, and they learn, and sometimes I learn from them when they come by. I don't know everything, and just it's just a nice community, you know. This is like going on 30 years I've been doing this, man. I met Perry like this. I met a lot of guys like this. Hobby's
mhm.
great, you know. So I just try to keep that going, you know?
I mean, we could sometimes get into this like idea of like right or wrong. And so where I'm at in life, I don't really even subscribe to that anymore. I don't know that I believe that there's such a thing. And because I say that, because like for example, and this is something that I thought about the other day, and I'm going to share it with you. If you were to say, for example, I have an absolute scientific study that says X, Y, and Z, right? Do you know what my reply nowadays is going to be?
Mm. Why?
Did you do it outside? Did you do it outside in your yard? Or did you do it in a laboratory? Where
So
was your study conducted? See, because here's the thing. When is your tank sterile? When is your tank a lab scenario? When
yeah,
is it?
never.
It never is. So when we're trying to apply all these principalities and principles regarding how reefing is supposed to be one way versus another, and it's always in the dichotomy of right versus wrong, that's when the ego comes in. And then that's when this hobby becomes a right or wrong and a pissing match. And so for Perry, me personally, I'm done with the pissing match because somewhere in between is the gray. And to me, I would rather go down into the central part, into the gray, and be an observer and say, I can't honestly say what's right or wrong because it could shift from one day to the next. It could literally go, you could take four different tanks and have four different effects in your basement, and you probably do.
Yeah, and you know what? You could pick up on that and learn from that. But like, actually, you know what? As far as like the ego, I think it's okay for some guys to have an ego on corals themselves. So if you're fucking results, excuse the language, but if you're like have these peaked acros, like I see some of these guys in particular, their acros are on fire, man. These guys have growth on everything, colors, and then to me, all right, if they're a little arrogant, whatever, it's just annoying to listen to them, but they're onto something, right? You might want to pay attention and listen if the guy's growing beautifully colored acros, especially shit that you can't grow. There's something to be said about that. But like like you're saying, like as far as like you know, lab studies and then real life, yeah, it's two different realities. Okay. And we've experienced that over the last 25 years. I mean, think about all the stuff that we learned from Reef Central and Reef to Reef from all the scientist type people who definitely brought a lot to the hobby, and I thank them for that. But sometimes it was taken out of context. They didn't have tanks in their house to try some of their theories out. And there's a lot of stuff. It starts back from like deep sand beds and going on crazy shit. I can't even think right now. But having that real life application, putting it into our scenario in our tanks is a different reality. Um, so yeah,
Poor
I
boy,
take it.
thank you. Thank you, poor boy. I wanted to thank you for that. That makes me feel really special. Yeah, I did take that down, and I took it down only because here's the thing. I no longer want to be in a space where I even really care about anything like that. Like if I'm in a space where before anybody wants to talk about an idea, they want to attack grammar, they want to attack structure of sentences, they want to attack the use of a tool, and they're more concerned about that than they are about the topic. Then it's just not the place for me to be. So it's not a big deal. I'll keep it here and I'll keep it in the community that's being built right here on YouTube. And then when the time is right now, guys, just so you know, I'm building a website right now as we speak. And all of this information that I'm working in the background is going to flow there. And I'm not even going to really get too much into it because that's not why I'm here tonight with Rich. I'm really here with Rich tonight to talk about his corals, his system, and everything else. But thank you for mentioning that. And there is more to come on that. I haven't stopped that project. Just so you guys know, it has not stopped. It's just in the background, and more information is being collected, and eventually it will start to flow out. And when it does, it will be at the right time for the right reasons, and I won't get ahead of myself. Um, I think the world was maybe I think it was too much information too fast, and the concept was definitely not in the right space to begin. So I've kind of reeled it back, and I'm happy about it. I'm stoked on my decisions. I'm stoked to be right here, right now, with somebody who inspired me in reefing 20 years ago. So I would rather keep it in that frame. That Rich, you're a part of my journey, and I know that I
Thanks, you
wasn't
too.
part of your journey when you got
Yeah.
back in,
Hell yeah,
and
dude.
so it's like it always comes back, and it's a pay it forward mentality. And for me, I believe that pay it forward. It might not it might not get you anywhere in the short run, but I believe if you stay consistent, you believe in the hobby, you believe in the passion and the love of the animals, you believe in a pay it forward mentality, that I believe your day will come. Like you. You've put a lot of effort, and not you're not have you have every reason to have an ego, but you won't. And the reason why you won't is because you love what you're doing. That's what comes through naturally. And that's why your success is there. And it is an opportunity to feel good and proud. There's a difference between having an ego and being proud, a big difference. And I think be proud of everything that you're doing. I'm proud of your work, me
Thank
personally.
thank you. I don't sit back and even think about it. Like, for me, it's just like this constant thirst for information, of wanting more. Like, I mean, Perry, this stuff, I'm not sponsored or anything like this. This
Mhm.
shitty additive, this crap changed my life. Okay. It's reef wise. When my acros were like kind of pale after that copper mishap, and like they looked thin skin, and the polyp extension was kind of weak. They looked,
Mhm.
looked like they were lacking something, right? So I started dosing. That's Brightwell Restore, because some guy said it thickened up the tissue. And when I dosed it, I started so small. I know 300-gallon volume. I was dosing 5 ml a day. So that's like minute, right? And I saw a difference. I was like, wow, corals look really fuzzy today. Wow, the colors are popping. So then I'm like, let me go a little bit closer to the recommended dosage, which was like 30 ml a day, something like that. So I went up to 10, and I saw an increase. Now I'm seeing stagnant growers start to wake up, and I'm seeing like polyps increase on corals that haven't been growing well, and tenuous, like my Disney's and other tenuous, getting super duper fuzzy. I'm like, and this is happening like in a relatively short time. This is happening in weeks. Okay, this is
I wonder
noticing.
how they're able to that now that's something that doesn't require refrigeration, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's shelf stable
How are they able to
somehow.
isolate the fatty acids and lipids and then keep them preserved, I wonder?
It has a unique smell, Perry. It's a very familiar smell.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. Listen, it doesn't leave like an oil sheen on the surface. I mean, it couldn't be oil because they would probably dissolve it in
Maybe
acetate
they
or
did
something
an
like that.
extraction. They probably
What
did an extraction.
Well, the thing is, like, in theory, right now, I don't really know. I didn't analyze this shit. I didn't send it out to a lab, but they advertise it as having prioritizing a fatty acid over amino, right? Like whenever I use amino, I get cyano. I used Brightwell Coral Amino. Cyano popped up in like 2 weeks. I had it all over the place. So like even like Acro Power and stuff like that. Like so, I stay away from amino because for me, it was always been like lackluster improvements, like you could be like, maybe I see something, maybe I don't, and the real risk of cyano. Where this stuff now, I started dosing it in October. Here we are going into February. I have no cyano, and anyway, so with the dosage, I slowly ramped up, and I went from 5 ml a day, and I went up to 30 ml a day. Okay, 30 ml a day was too much for 300 gallons. What I did notice, uh, diatom all over the glass. Like I would clean my glass, and in 6 hours, haze was back. Okay, you see on a little bit on the rocks, and on the glass. I had a bare bottom, so you see it on the glass. So I
Mhm.
backed off. I backed off to 25. I still noticed it. When I backed off to 20, it stopped. Like so I clean my glass right now maybe every 3 days. I'll clean off a slight brown diatom haze every 3 days. And that seems to be the sweet spot because I still get the polyp extension, I still get the increase in color, the vibrance, and it's hard to explain because it's really subtle. I can't really show you in a camera that doesn't allow me to zoom, but the thickness of the tissue. If like Alan
Mhm.
says, like if you read some of these articles, it shows the acro tissue is 40% lipids, right? So it makes sense that prioritizing putting fats into the tank could plump up the acroporas, and that's exactly what happened. Um, so I'm staying with it. I'm staying with it until I see a downside. I mean, I do regular water changes, so you know to maybe somebody who doesn't do water changes, maybe they might get a nasty accumulation of something by not doing it. So, again, this is specific to my predicament that I have going on. But it's been a game changer, man. This brought my tank to the next level. And that feeding Celcon in my frozen food, okay, taking that fatty acid, I soak it overnight, and when I feed the food, not only do I feed it, I pour the juice in the tank. So the tank clouds up white. You see that that feeding response from all the acros where they slime up like when you use the concoction. Same type of thing. It's just easier with Allen's food because you just take it, it's already set. But yeah, no, there's definitely something to it. The only difference that I pay attention to my phosphate because when my phosphate went high, I saw a decline in the tank. So I'm running GFO. Otherwise, I'm like totally trying to copy what Alan's doing, but I don't want to let my phosphate go high because last time I did that, my freaking vivid confetti and my pearlberry got some kind of weird funk on them and turned black. So I don't want to go there again, you know. But anyway,
He's got, yeah, hopefully I'll talk to him, in the future about what he's been working on, but
oh yeah,
I,
I know what he's
I
doing.
am seeing off of his charts, I'm seeing some pretty interesting things that interplay into quorum sensing and uh, how it interplays into predictability. And quorum sensing is essentially predictability in the biome, in the microbiome, and so I believe that his system has gained a microbial, a biological intelligence where there's predictability built in, and that's why he's shrinking his delta pH and his pH. There's virtually no variance between the two, and you can see it in his oscillating pH. There's really no difference. So it's pretty interesting when you start to look at that night exchange to that day exchange and what that means from the photosynthesis period to the dark period and carbonic acid and how carbonic acid releases and then what does that do to the pH. And then so I think, like, I don't know how, but in the grand scheme of things, somehow there's literally his system has been able to figure out how to
Yeah.
isolate carbonic acid and how to not allow carbonic acid to even um, release into the system. And
I,
through that, you're looking at a pH that doesn't even shift from AM to
yeah,
PM.
Perry, I'm paying attention to him, but I don't know what he's doing. Like it's odd. Like he's running a calcium reactor. He's not running any kind of buffer. He's not dosing lye. He's not running calcwasser. His low pH is like 8.2. I'm running 3 gallons of calcwasser a day. My pH is going down to 8.0 at night and going up to maybe 8.4 in a day. So I have that swing. Dude, if I took my calcwasser off right now, just at this moment, my fucking tank would crash. My pH would be like 7.6. I'd come down to a bunch of white acros in the morning. And I'm not just talking out of my ass there. I've had my calc like not dose one night and my pH dropped and I came down to like 5 dead corals. That was last year. But when my pH goes down to 7.7, I see dead corals, in a big shift. Some guys have perpetual low pH and don't experience that. But whatever happens in that short time, something triggers deaths. But yeah, I don't know what he does, Perry. I don't know. I'm like 2 years behind Alan. When he learns something, give me 2 years, I'll understand. That's basically how it goes. Took me 2 years to listen to him about the feeding.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I have an idea. I mean, my mind completely can be wrapped around it, but um, I would rather Alan like sort of bring that information forward. I mean, I have a good firm idea of what's going on and why, but I don't want to let the I don't.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
deal.
He's got to elaborate on it.
But
Yeah.
anyway, moving forward, I mean, I can only tell you, like, I'm working on a few little things in the background that I believe are going to change the way we look at reefing a little bit, maybe from a more simplistic standpoint. But like I said, in due time, that will come forward. But you know, um, yeah, I mean, dude, your system, you've got to keep that. But I think what's happening, from a broader perspective, somehow he's able to shrink that gap. That
Yeah,
there is no gap,
I see that. There
um,
is no.
and by there not being a gap, the system doesn't have recovery, and so there is no recovery time. It's in a perpetual state of elevated pH, and it's almost like he's on a 24-hour light cycle, even though he's not on a 24-hour light cycle. If you understand what I'm saying from a pH stability standpoint,
Yeah.
it's pretty remarkable.
He's got to
So,
accelerate his growth, I would think. I mean, Alan's got to get one of these like battle corals grow competitions. He's got to just like spank everybody just to show us what's up.
true. Yeah, look, man, I can't get into those things. Hey, Rich, go ahead and hit refresh real quick. All right, cool. All right, where am I at? There, okay, there we go. Uh-oh. Come on back, Rich. So yeah, if you guys caught the last video, he'll be back and just there he is. With Troy Lee, I had said that right around the 2 hour mark, it just does this transition thing.
It must
And
be
then
like
it
two
comes
hours
back.
because we went in and out a couple of times or something like that. I don't know.
It
What
should
time
be
is it
good
anyway?
now.
Yeah, no, I see you fine now. I hear you fine now too.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry about your luck.
Why don't we take some questions from some guys, man? We never really,
Yeah, yeah, let's jump into that. Okay,
yeah,
so
let's see.
let's see here. Guys, anybody who's live right now and wants to really know a little bit more about Rich's system or has questions for either of us, shoot away. Let's get into some of the comments. So, compared to the paywall guy BRS on the market with their IG influencers, agreed.
Yeah.
Perry took okay. We talked about that. Don't explain it to. Yeah, no, I'm past that. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. I don't know that. Let me see. Let's go back here. Mark was in the chat. I'm not sure if Mark's still out there, but thanks, Mark, for being a part. Mark's always been a part of the journey, and
Yeah,
I just always he's followed along.
Mark's got some nice corals. See Mark's tank? He's got some music collector. He's got some nice stuff.
Oh yeah, he's been killing it for a long time, but he's very humble, and I like that about him. But he's been a big supporter, and I can't thank you, Mark, for always supporting. And he's a killer aquarist, as is Rich out there. You know, so yeah, I mean, in the meantime, I'll just sort of start asking questions then. All right, so let's see here. Some questions for you, Rich. What do you think about 226? What any particular goals that you've got this year? I mean, do you want to expand your collection? Or are you trying to like kind of hold off at this point, or do you have anything that you got your eyes on out there? Any kind of any corals in the like? I kind of want to add them to the collection. Any particular things on your mind?
Um, 2C's red granulosa. I've been looking for.
I haven't even seen it.
I saw it, but like I don't want like a piss poor frag. I have no patience to turn like a booger into a real frag in a year, and then you know when you buy like a DNA sample frag, it's a year to a real frag. Then it's another year to a mini colony. It's am I waiting 2 years to look at something the size of a golf ball? You know, so when I see a real frag of it, I'll buy it. Otherwise, I just wait. You
You
know,
know what you ought to do is you ought to like make one of your systems, like maybe make it designed for a smoothie tank, something where it is a little bit slighter high nutrient, so that the lesser amount of polyps have more access to food sources,
well, that's
and
what I'm
maybe
doing in
you
the
could.
halide tank because the smoothies respond better under the halides than any like
I do
what
believe so.
you know whatever they listen is like whatever is keeping that purple monster alive with that spectrum is nourishing the other smoothies as well. There's some connection with that low polyp count and whatever that light is giving it, then LED isn't. You know, it's something in the halide. I could see it in the tissue. It nourishes the coral in a different way. It looks completely different under LED. So I'm pretty confident taking the smoothies and throwing them in the halide tank where if they're tenuous, I won't do that. They'll go the other way. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gravitating toward that, Perry. It's just that I'm trying to find things worthwhile to put in there. I'm not opposed to like wild stuff that's cool. I just don't want like a fresh chop something, But I just got to catch my eye, Um, yeah, I don't know how you can only get so many things, So I'm pretty content with my system, though, size wise. Because any larger than this, it'll be a financial burden, and I'll really have to. I'll be forced to start selling aggressively to keep it going, And I don't want to be selling, $300 and $400 frags of some bullshit tenuous shit to a guy that doesn't know any better. I mean, I like kind of guy coming over and he leaves with 5 or 10 frags for $100, $200, start his tank up. I mean, listen, if there's a coral that I paid a lot of money for, yeah, of course it's going to be more expensive. And I'm going to give him a $600 purple monster for $100. That won't happen. But it's not going to be like $150 princess peaches or corals that are readily available that are pretty. I sell them at a fair rate just to keep things to pay for my salt, to pay for maybe an upgrade. But anyway, not
I
to
mean,
go into
that's
that.
old school reefing, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
like I was saying before, I'm not saying that I have a crystal ball, and I'm not saying that I can see into the future, but I am saying that from what I've looked into over the last several 15 years or so, from an economic standpoint. I think things are going to get a little tougher, and they are tougher. And so, from a financial situation, the burden is going to be there. And so, I think it will be that you're going to see a consolidation of coral vendors, a consolidation of equipment vendors. And I think the ones that are going to last the test of time are going to be the ones that signal authenticity, the ones that believe in the hobby, that believe in the guys like me, you, Mark, and Poor Boy, and all these guys out there, NSB Reef, the guys that are out there that are trying to keep this hobby going, to by being it just through the virtue of keeping a tank and being in the hobby. I do think that things are going to change for the better. I think it's going to get tough before it gets better, but I do believe we'll come full circle back to a time where there's more of what you're explaining there, where you're passing along local corals, more people are engaged in local things. I see that coming back. I think a lot of people, Gen Zs, kind of are wanting to see what it's like to have dirt underneath their nails if they have a garden instead of looking at a virtual garden on a computer. I think that more people want to look into ecosystems and understand what these things are all about because they think that they're more fascinating, and they are. Nothing is more fascinating than being able to take a part of nature and then recreate it. To me, when you can do that and then you can find success in it, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Dude, it's
So I
even
think
even to sell like as like cheap frags, whatever. It's how awesome is it to subsidize your hobby with your hobby? I mean, that alone is a gift, you know?
it is because there's not a lot. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, one of my other hobbies, and just to kind of frame what I was talking about, and there was a little bit of drama which I don't like to get involved in, but um I'm into a few different things. We've talked offline about some of my practices, but like today, I had to put up a 15-foot by 30-foot tarp and create a greenhouse effect because I've got sub 20 temperatures hitting Central Florida starting tomorrow,
Crazy,
and
dude.
it's going to go all the way through. So I've got a little burner, a propane burner, and I'm going to boil water out underneath my tarp, and that way it'll create heat and generate steam out there and create a greenhouse effect. And then I'm going to burn a fire pit in the backyard, and my oak canopies and in my house will create some thermo insulation. By the ground being warm, from a big fire. I've got some logs, Rich, that are about like this big around
Crazy.
and several feet long, and I'm going to burn like I got 15 big ass logs, dude. So I'm going to be burning wood and doing what I can to save all my trees, dude, because that's my other hobby. And and things happen. Shit
Well, how
happens.
how long is the cold snap by you? How many days?
It's long enough. We're gonna have sub freezing temperatures for like 8 hours, and that's brutal. Like I'll probably lose everything in the front yard tropical. I'll lose it. Yeah, I won't
Damn.
be able to keep anything out there. But I dug up two mango trees today. I dug up a star fruit today, and I moved those all into the greenhouse. And then I've got some guava. I got a little guava out there, and some other stuff that I pulled up underneath there. And so most of my herbs where I greenhoused, most of my bigger like collectible herbs are in there, so it's fine. Everything will be good underneath that. And then, like I said, the backyard will be killer because I've got such a nice canopy of oaks that everything's grown under that it won't be a problem. But I do think that people are wanting to work with more natural systems now, and I think that that's where things are going to be going in the future. Is you know, when you look at our food system and when you look at the way everything is designed, it's all run by corporations and everything. It doesn't stack up. You need local farming, you need local produce, you need local sustainable, and I think we're going in that direction. Well, whether we'll get there or not now, I think we'll get there in time. But I believe that that's the future because there's just no way it can stand on its feet anymore. I mean, when you're taking strawberries, or I'll give you an example. Plant City in Florida, right? I used to work in a main restaurant, a corporate restaurant. I'll leave it at that. I won't name it. I live in Florida, all right, Central Florida. Plant City is in Central Florida over near Tampa. So it's Central Florida, but it's over near Tampa. All right. So, perspective, they grow the best strawberries probably in the country. As good, if not better, than uh, than California. When I was working in the restaurant, I was cutting strawberries every day when I was prepping. Guess where the strawberries were coming from?
Hmm.
California. I live in Central Florida, but my
Why?
strawberries are coming from California. So I want you to think about that. Like, so I'm using strawberries in a commercial in a large corporate restaurant because they've have corporate deals with bigger corporations for growing larger produce. Right? You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
instead of sourcing produce locally, sustainably, where it's fresh, right? I those strawberries in Plant City, I mean, they're fresh. They're like a day old, 2 days old. But yet
Yes.
I'm eating 2 week old strawberries, and that's what I'm cutting up. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't work, and I think that will change, just like this hobby. And I think it'll
Yeah.
change all for the better.
You get all
It's going to
kinds of
be
cycles with
localized.
it. I just wanted to answer poor boy's question there. He's asking me what I feed. So I feed I feed mostly frozen food, right? So in my display, actually in both systems, I'll feed LRS Reef Frenzy. Now, if I use LRS, it doesn't have like a good fatty acid content from what I see. Like it doesn't make the corals slime up. So I'll make sure I soak that in Celcon.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
s- so now I do the same thing with the I feed Hikari mysis, and I do the same thing with the mysis. Now, I also feed Rod's food. Now, Rod's food now that whatever they put in there, that stuff slimes the acros up pretty good. They get the feeding response from that. So I usually don't soak the rod's food in the Celcon. I don't see it. I don't find it to be necessary. Now I don't feed like he said Perry uses reefroids. I don't see reefroids to me, I use it as a phosphate additive. I don't use it
Mhm.
as a food, right? Um what else have I been feeding? Let's see. I don't use Benepats. I don't use any of that stuff. The only thing I've been feeding is those fatty acids from Brightwell Restore. And if you have a tank that's kind of like where the corals are a little pale or thin skinned, or you don't have great polyp extension, it may be worth looking into. If you get cyano, don't hold me accountable. Okay, use it at your own risk, but start with a very small dose. Everybody who I've turned on to it has seen like monstrous results. So in general, upping the fatty acids into your tank is key, man. It hasn't been prioritized until recently by a lot of guys, but it's key. It's not so much the aminos where you see the effect; it's the fats. So that's where I'm at with that. Oh, as far as
Yeah, I've
dry
been
food,
talking about fatty acids for, oh God, I've been talking that about 12 years now. But fatty acids, I've liked getting them in the form of so right now, I'll probably transition on over to Alan's food when I run out of it. But
yeah,
I have Coral Vitalizer from KZ,
yeah.
and to me, I think it's one of the best broadcast fermented lipid fatty acid fish goo gnarly stuff that I've ever fed my system. So
I used to use that years ago. I
I'm a
got a good response.
big fan of it. Yeah, what's that?
I said I use that. You get a good feeding response from that stuff.
Oh, it's killer. It's a fatty acid and lipid. It's just in a fermented form.
Oh,
When you smell it, you can tell it.
I tried Polyp Lab Polyp Booster too. Now that's another fatty acid, but you got to be careful with that stuff too because it jacks the phosphate through the roof. So
Really?
yeah, Polyp Lab Polyp because like you know what? I tested my phosphate one day. What the hell is it so high? It's been running like point 0.1, 0.12. I look, it's like 2.6. I'm like, oh, I mean 0.26. I'm like, what the hell? And then I checked my other system, which was also jacked up. I'm like, oh wait, okay. And I checked, yeah, I dosed it again after it came down. It brings your phosphate right up. But it's good to know because if my phosphate runs lean in the newer system, I'll dose that shit to bring it up because it does get the feeding response as well. So you know, another tool in a tool bag.
Well, my ACANs seem to like Reefroid, so that's why I feed it.
Yeah.
I crop dust them, and man, I'll tell you what, I put sand in recently into the tank, and they're even fluffier. I know it's hard to believe, but you can see it behind me there. Um,
Dude, your A cans are exploding, man. They're
I've got
huge.
yeah, I've got some good luck with the A cans right now, so I'm really pretty happy with that. But the acros look great, man. I don't have any complaints. I just wish they would grow a little faster, but it is what it is. We'll get there. Poor boy, yes, Plant City is home of ACI. Cool story for you guys out there too. A little nostalgia for you. There used to be a fish store on Kennedy Boulevard down in South Tampa, on Dale Mabry rather, and just south of Kennedy Boulevard. And uh, what's his name? Chris Meckley was co-owner of that fish store. And so that goes way back into the time. And Chris Meckley probably doesn't even remember me buying Acro from him back in the day. But that was circa 2006, 2005, 2006, back then. So yeah, he's in Plant City. If you've been to I've been there. It's been several years since I've been to ACI, but it is absolutely incredible what he's got going on there. So yeah, shout out to Mr. Meckley. Great job over there. I'm actually going to try to reach out to Chris. I think he'd be good to have on the show. I think,
Where's my? I gotta go shut my water off here. Hold on a second. Freaking.
bro, you haven't
That's my
you
RO
you've
there
thought
for
of
you.
everything. I mean, you've got a hand sink over there. Um,
Yeah, well, this is. I mean, all the stuff I clean and stuff. I mean, listen, it's nothing fancy, right? It's just functional.
yeah.
I mean, it's an unfinished basement. I put a mini split here. So oh, by the way, so I have a dehumidifier in that corner of the room. There's a dehumidifier in that corner of the room, so it stays dry. I keep it 50%. Plus,
Okay.
this mini split also dehumidifies. That's the heat and air
Sure.
conditioning. And then I brought when I first moved down here. This was unfinished, so I took a 100 amp sub panel, put it down here, and then I installed 20 amp banks all around. So everything's got its own breaker. This system here, I did two separate breakers behind this one. So, I don't trip anything with the halides.
Bro, that's
And
fucking killer. Or excuse my language. That's
it's
freaking
well, you know
killer.
what? That Perry, if I did say like I ended up selling more and I wanted to make it like a viable like side hustle, right? Um, I could easily do so. I could take a freaking 8 or a 10 foot tank, put it right here, plumb it into here. I could replace this tank with something way bigger. Right down here, I could have a lot of volume should I choose to do so. But I'm at the point now where it's like, listen, my electric to run this shit is probably like $600 a month just for the tanks alone. That's not including my house. So, it gets to be a burden. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I offset it, right? You know how listen, even I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
sell 600, it's not a big deal, you know,
Don't worry.
but if,
We want to make sure the tax man ain't listening.
oh, you could listen, I'll write off everything. I'm at a giant loss. So, yeah, I got, what I got invested down here. So, you know, yeah, I'm comfortable right now. This is also too, Perry. It's a lot of work, right? So just cleaning the glass on all these tanks, just going cleaning this one, cleaning this one, cleaning this one, cleaning this one, scraping that one. What did I do today? I scaled the skimmer out today. I scaled that skimmer out like last week. I cleaned after finding the leaking pump. I took every single pump in all the tanks apart. So the thing is, if you have 5, 6, 7 tanks, the work is exponential. I'm one man. I'm not hiring somebody to work down here. So I'll be living down here on these tanks if I go bigger. So, I'm almost at that threshold where I'm passing like hobbyist status into grower status. So I'm on the fence right now. I'm teetering. That's it.
You got kids that can help out or like brush glass
Uh,
yet? Or
well, my kids are 8 and 9 right now, just turned 8 and 9. And
Mm.
so like, I mean, listen, they'll take out the garbage. I got to fight with them to make their bed. To rely on them
Right.
down here to
So they're
have dead
not
acres.
interested, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, one of my younger son he's got his own reef. He's got a 15-gallon reef in his room, and it's kicking ass, dude. It looks awesome. Um, I should take you up there. You know what? You got to go see his reef. I'm taking you upstairs now. We're gonna go see my son's reef live.
Yeah. Hey, go walk upstairs. I gotta use the
Yeah,
bathroom.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll
I'm
be
gonna go
right back.
back. Okay. Come on, you got to show your tank live on the video. Come show. Come on, show everybody your tank. Yoshi, come on, buddy. Stand by your tank. Stand by you. And what's your name, pal? We'll wait for Perry to come back. All right, look at that. Got a little acro in there. Got Did you feed them? You gotta give them some pellets. Let's turn let's do the oh, you can see better like this. Yeah, turn the light on the way right there to this one. Oh. Yeah, that's good. Actually, no, turn that one off. Yoshi, what's up, huh?
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Woo.
So, this is my younger son, Cullen. Say hello, pal. Say hello to Perry.
Hey,
All
what's
right,
up,
let's go
brother?
show him. Come on, come show him your tank.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Come sit next to your tank. Here. All right. So
What a
tell him,
nice tank, young man.
how big is your tank, pal?
15 gallons.
15 gallons. What kind of lighting do you have? What's that called?
Blade.
A blade. That's right. It's a blade grow. And tell us about the corals. What do you have there? What's the big one there?
Wow.
One hologram hammer.
And what's the other one?
And then a green hammer.
What's that big green thing?
Of a leather.
What else? Give me out some other names.
A cans.
Where's your purple monster?
No.
You don't have a purple monster? and that's Yoshi.
Oh, look at
Yoshi
your
likes the
dog,
things.
man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's a crazy cattle dog. He wants to kill everybody who comes in the house.
Oh, look how pretty dog.
This
Wow,
little tank
dude,
here is a year old.
what's your son's name? Connor?
Cullen, Cullen,
Cullen.
Cullen, like Colin, but Cullen. And
Yeah.
that's he's got, dude, this skimmer is an AOI. It's some weird name. This skimmer right here, it's IOA, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. It's excuse my language, but it's for like a 60-gallon tank. So it skims the crap out of this. Feed the fish, pal. Give him some. Oh, so on this tank, look, we got an Inkbird temperature controller. He's got a what the hell is this thing? The a Jabo SL5 and a Higer return. It's pretty, dude. This tank takes care of
Killer
itself.
little tank.
Yeah. We got a little 5-gallon tank for his reservoir, and that's it, man. You do nothing to this tank. I do water changes from hand me down from the bigger system, so it gets
That's smart.
use water. And dude, look, his DKH last time I checked was like 4.8, and the hammers grow out of control. It's nuts, dude. This is my other dog here, Perry. This is Oscar, and he's the friendly one. That's Oscar.
Hi, Oscar. What's
Oscar,
happening?
come here.
Is that Chihuahua?
No, he's like some kind of weird. Here, let me turn the light on. You can see him. He's some kind of like weird
here,
cattle
Bobo.
dog mix.
Come here, boy.
Come here, pal. Sit. Sit.
Come here, Coco.
Yeah, buddy.
So I'll show you when Cindy was alive. This was my first Christmas present, and this is my female. This is Coral right here. So her name was Coral. That's what her and her daughter had named her. She's really like a very sensitive one, whereas the male, wherever he is, Bobo, he's a trip. I don't know where he's at. Bobo. But anyway, so last time I was on with Alan, dude, it was so hilarious. I leave my door open right here next to where I'm at live with you, and a stray cat, dude, just like walked right in during the live and started rubbing on my leg. And I was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And my dogs were just like, they weren't even like paying attention to what was going on. They would
I
have
watched
freaked.
that live when that happened. I watched the
It
video.
was so hilarious, man. It was that cat is super cool. I've met that cat a few times. Sort of a neighborhood adopted cat for everybody. Kind of takes care of it. Cool cat. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
man,
awesome,
it's
dude.
animals are great, dude. It's so cool. Thank you for sharing your son's tank and introduction to him and your dogs. Very grateful for getting the opportunity to
Thanks for
meet
showing me Coral.
everybody in the family. Yeah, I appreciate. Come here, Bobo. I gotta show you my mail here. Let me see. Come here, boy.
Is
This is my boy.
Coral and Bobo?
Oh yeah, this is Bobo. He is a look at this.
That's a little
Look at
meatball. Look
this
at
guy. Look at that boy.
that one.
He's a male Chihuahua, but he's a chunker.
Dude, those are
But
big
yeah,
chihuahuas. Holy
he's a chunky guy. But he has got the biggest personality. He talks to you, and like literally, he can open the door and close the door on his own. Not
wow.
the knob part. So if I don't close the door with the knob, right, he can open it and close it, and then he can knock on the door if he can't open it, and let you know he wants to come back in. So it's pretty cool. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, I love my dogs. I love my garden. I love
yeah,
my
dude.
tanks. I love plants, bro.
Dude,
It's
dogs and reefing, man. My
I
last
wish you were
dog.
down here, bro. I would love for you to be able to, like, one of these days when the spring comes along, when we go live down the road, I'm gonna sit out in the middle of my food forest and I'm gonna go live in the middle of the food forest where all tropical plants all around me. And you'll see what I've been working on, man. It's like stepping outside is like stepping out into like tropical paradise, you know? I'm
Yeah.
trying to create something special out
I
there.
remember you did do videos for a little while when you got out of when you shut down your last tank. You put a couple plant videos up in the backyard. I remember, I don't remember all the details, but I remember seeing you back there doing crazy shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, it all leads to the same place. One day people are going to recognize that whether it's the soil, whether it's your gut, whether it's the reef, it doesn't matter. They're all literally the same and they all respond very similarly. They all share very similar microbiomes. And it was really fascinated me to learn about the soil because by learning about the soil, I actually then was able to understand more about the reef. So I don't have any regrets for my journey. I have no regrets for anything in life. I'm stoked that my old tank, I took it down and did what I did and focused on the outside for a minute.
Did
And
you ever
then,
do?
so
I'm
now
sorry.
I have a whole tank over here. I could upgrade into right now.
Dude, yeah.
I'm not
Grow this.
interested.
Yeah. Did you ever do freshwater tanks with soil and like? You ever do that for a while?
So when I worked with deep water, we introduced the first all-in-one aquaponics system, and it was a nano system that had. It was called the Brio, and it was an all-in-one with light, LED light, and everything. And it was an aquaponics all-in-one system, and it was freaking really cool. The design was really cool. The guy that conceptualized it. Was used to be one of the tank designers for Fluval, and so he branched out on his own and he started it. And unfortunately, it just never. The price point was way too much, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was a really cool design if you wanted to start to at least understand it conceptually, of what is aquaponics all about. It was super cool to at least introduce you. You could like literally grow like a plant, like an 8x8 little bed, like with like these little, they use hydroponic media, which is like a clay kind of very airy, very similar to media that we would use in the hobby. And then, and that's where your roots would go in, and it was in contact with the tank that was by the side of it, and it was so freaking cool. So you had one light that was the red spectrum for the plants, and then you had one light that was the white spectrum for the fish tank. It was a dual light. It was a
Interesting.
cool little thing. Yeah, and it all had built-in timers and everything to it. But I'm gonna probably look into aquaponics at some point. what I'm going to do, Rich, to be honest with you, is I'm going to probably go in the direction of a pond in my food forest. I'm going to make a pond, and then I'm going to tie my pond into um, to the irrigation of my food forest. So I collect rain already, and I have barrels. So I'm going to extend that system. I'm going to tie in a pump system into a rain system that's going to get tied into a pond that I'm going to make by hand. I'm going to actually, what I'm going to do is my dad, when I was a kid, he made a big pond by digging up the area, and then he took chick wire and laid it down on the bottom of the soil and framed it all with chick wire and went in with concrete and just went in and just put concrete all over the chick wire and just kept going and doing layers and layers and layers until he actually made his template. And then from there, he he had a big ass pond that was made like on the
So,
cheap.
how long did you keep that going?
Dude, this guy was so smart. You know what he did? Back in the day, he took our AC drip line and tied it into and ran that all the way out to and utilized the drip off the AC to add water. I mean, it's just so cool when you think about all like the capacity of what you can do. It's just amazing. I see. It looks like Alan just jumped
Alan
into
just
the
popped
chat.
in.
What do Alan?
What's up,
What up,
Alan?
dude? Yeah, so bro, I'm probably gonna do a pond, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie it all into a rain collection system, and then I'm gonna use the water and the microbial aspects of the water to fuel my plant growth. You know, because like, dude, uh,
Yes, fire,
oh,
ice
okay,
fire. It's
whatever.
not.
What did he say? I got my ice fire echinatas.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have got a shipment in. All right,
In
well,
this
let's
weather,
find out more about it
it's
because
like -10 by him.
I know, yeah. Like, how did you do that, Alan? Dude, like,
He must
seriously,
have got it
bro.
from a local guy.
How did the bag not freeze on the way from the UPS bringing it up to your door, dude? That's what I'd really like to know.
20 heat
Like,
packs.
really, man. Like, seriously, no, that's cold. Like, yeah, man, Rich, we're gonna be breaking.
Local guy. Yeah.
They're saying Tampa might get flurries. Tampa.
Eh, it'll pass. It will pass.
I know it's
Oh, so
cool.
listen for the power backup, man. So listen, I didn't do the whole house generator. It was just a little out of my budget right now. So I have two Honda 2000-watt generators. The
Did
20
you get
20
another one?
20 22. Yeah, yeah. So what happened was um I got one like really cheap used and I bought one brand new on sale. So I picked up two. And the reason why I had a deal locally, I couldn't say no to it. It was like freaking dirt cheap and the thing is like brand new. So why did I do that? Because I'm thinking like if the power went out, right? Yeah, I'll keep all my pumps running with one, no problem. The heat, dude. If I gotta heat these tanks in a room that's 40 degrees, dude, I'm gonna need serious wattage. I'll need like the generator just to run the another generator just to run the heaters to keep these tanks
So
warm.
before you go any further,
Yeah.
tell me when your air temperature is at, let's just go with 0, because that's a good number to go with for right now. Well, have you seen 0 yet?
Outside, not in my basement.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go with
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
at 0, what is your basement usually at?
I set the thermostat down here. I keep it at 64 65 like that 24/7 right now in the winter. Now in the summertime I'll go as high as 75. As long as as long as the humidity is low, even in a 75-degree ambient room temperature with metal halides over my tank and good ventilation, I do not need a chiller. My temperature doesn't go above 78 degrees in my tank, maybe 79. That's about it. That's with no chiller. But on the downside, Perry, I don't know. It's never been colder than like 62, 63 down here. I couldn't tell you. But without heat, it would drop down cold. I mean, I'm in the basement. The ground is cold. So it's going to be like an ice box down here, you know?
Right, but I mean, I would imagine at some point the ground temperature is warmer than the air temperature,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you could actually, sort of benefit through the thermal aspects of through the virtue of being in a basement and what that means from a thermal standpoint. There's probably things you could get very creative with
Yeah. Well,
copper and laying copper underneath the ground and then making your own chiller out of just a simple pump, or being able to channel air through copper, through ambient copper temperatures. So I mean, there's a lot of things you could get crafty with on a DIY basis if you truly wanted to. And then, like, I would even extend to you, like, my buddy Matt, locally, I don't know if I think I told you the other day, he's at the point right now where, like, dude, his reef tank, his whole family room is all literally running off of solar at this point. And he's got it,
Yeah,
he can go 3 days on one single charge. So, I mean, like, so literally at this point, he's completely off grid with his reef. Now that right there, dude, if you could get to
I,
the point where
I
you
looked
could
into
you could
solar.
somehow get off grid with your reef,
I looked
that would
into
be
it
great.
in my particular application. So if I had like a big ranch house, yeah, I'd be able to fit a shitload of panels. It would make sense. So like my house is kind of like the design. There's like weird vents and stuff up on my roof and stuff. So with the solar panels, if I was to add them during the uh, the peak, let me see if I remember this right. During the peak solstice in what's the longest day of the year? It's in like July,
June,
June.
it's June 21st.
Okay, so on the longest day of the year, I'll produce 1,400 kilowatt, right? And then in the winter, it goes down to as low as in the sixes, right? Now it's something, right? But my usage
Mhm.
every month is about 3,000 kilowatt, right? So it's only a drop in the bucket, and the only way I'd be able to get more, that's what max panels on my roof is. If I did something in my backyard, it would be a bit like an abomination. It would look terrible, I because my house is like, it's like 3 stories, but like the third story is half attic, half like room, so it's a small roof relative to the size of the house, Um,
You just don't have the surface area that
yeah,
you
yeah, that's
need.
what I'm saying. I looked into it and stuff, and I just, you know what? It's just like I'm like I'm gonna put all this shit on my roof, and I'm not really gonna save that much. So if it was like 2,500 kilowatts a month I could produce, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. But it's not in my situation. So
So we'll just have to design an Ethernet so we can grab all the energy directly from the air and the ether, and then figure out how to harness it and bring it into your aquarium. Well, we'll figure that out eventually. I'm sure it's already been done by like Tesla or something,
I
but
saw that
yeah.
little flower pot trick. Did you send me that where the guy takes the clay pot and puts like a couple candles under there and it turns into a stove? Did you send me that or somebody sent me that? I don't know.
I don't think that was me. No,
It was an
no,
interesting
but
idea. It was like you take clay pots, right? Soil pots, planting pots, and you put it and you turn it up, put the pot on top of it, and then put a few candles in there, and it heats up the clay, and it turns into like a little stove, and it radiates
uh
into the room. It was an interesting idea. You could get like some
yeah,
of
I
those
mean,
little.
dude, like back in the day, like they used to take, like big, those big heavy river stones, and they'd put them next to a fire and they'd heat them, and you'd put them under your bed for the night, and that's how you kept your
Yeah,
bed warm.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's always things you can get clever and do, but yeah, I mean, I just dig it, dude. Like, I've got a strategy right now for, using wood that's from trees that I cut down myself, and I'm just going to take the wood, and every year I do limb work, and so I always have wood, and I'll burn wood tomorrow, and that'll give me so much temperature hitting the back of my house right here. It'll fuel this canopy, and I'll probably be able to keep my ambient temperature to the point where I won't freeze in the backyard. So I'll be able to save pretty much every tropical tree in my backyard won't die if I get this right. So yeah, man, with that in my greenhouse, I'm stoked, man. Like, so bring it on, you know?
Well, anyway, I got that second generator just in case because, dude, 60. Listen, I know 59 degrees, the corals are dead. In all practical purposes, I think once you get below 65, you could hit the point of no return on them. So I have that generator. I have like, I don't know how many. I got a ton of extra heaters. So if the room temperature was 45 or 50, I'll keep that water a 70 or 68. I'll keep it warm enough. So
Mhm.
that's
Well,
my
listen,
back.
man, you have enough. So all you got to do is you got to, like, so let's think this through. You have enough water in your room, right? That if you blow a couple fans across the water, it's going to push that ambient temperature and it's going to insulate that room naturally through the virtue of all the water that's in that room. Now, is that going to make up for the whole entire room? Probably not. But through the idea of your tanks maintaining, I would say you're going to try to maintain what, 75 degrees?
If the power's out, I'll be happy with 70. I mean, they'll be
Okay,
fine, you
well,
know.
we're not there yet, but if we did, you remember you still have the insulation of the water being heated, and what that's going to mean from an ambient standpoint. It's going to help that room maintain that moisture. I would just kill any ventilation at that point.
Yeah.
If it were me,
Yeah. I don't
I
have
would knock
ventilation right
down
now.
everything and try to capture all that heat, like make your own little bubble in there. But I think you'd be surprised. I think the if you were to just make sure your tanks had the right amount of energy, you just need to get a couple blankets for yourself and you'll be all right. You know? It's pretty crazy that you got two generators and that your tanks are
Well,
going to
yeah, I
stay
mean, listen,
warm and you're going to be on blanket.
hopefully I never need the second one. If I use that second one, that means shit hit the fan, you know. But the you know, so we'll see. Oh, you know what? I got before we wrap this up, I did not show you, just so I have it. Where the hell's the lens? I just wanted to show you one thing. So that Jackson tenuous that I told you started
Oh
growing.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
just. I forgot to show it to you. I mean, the light's all blue. You're not going to see it, but I just show you a little. You understand? This was like a sickly branch that didn't grow for like I don't know how many months, but it just shot out a little. Come on, get out of the way. It shot out a little branch right there, and it's fuzzy. See?
Oh
I don't know if
yeah.
you- It's showing signs of life. This thing did not grow for a year and a half, Perry. So now look, it started to encrust. I'm getting encrusting growth for the first time.
Dude, that's awesome. Now,
You know,
Rich,
so
is that you have two pieces of that from two different people, right?
no, well, that's one, right? That's one piece. I'll show you the second one. The second one came in at 59 degrees. Here's the second one, bud. There you go, right there.
Oh,
Okay, it came in dead. The guy Danny McElroy, he sweet guy, man. He hooked me up. He reached out to me out of the blue, and he didn't charge me for the frag, but unfortunately, it didn't make it. You know, and it was a nice size piece too. But that one's waking up, and I think in very shortly I'll have something to look at there because it's you could see it like you could just see the polyps coming out. I get crazy nighttime polyp extension on it, so it's definitely woken up.
are you going to like take a walk down memory lane and at least take like a frag of it and put it up underneath the halide so you can remember what it looked like up underneath the halide
Well,
too?
well, it's in halide. It's in my
Oh,
halide
it is.
tank.
Okay.
Yeah, because what happened was I had it sitting under LED for so long and it wasn't doing anything. So I said, hey, let's stick it under halide. And I stuck it in halide and I left it and it's waking up in there. So I'm gonna leave it there because listen, that coral changed. Like for instance, Kenny Pieces of the Ocean. He's got it in his shop, right? And it doesn't grow for him. It doesn't grow for him. Now back years ago, it grew fast for everybody. It grew fast for me. It grew fast for everybody who got it. But we ran T5s, we ran halides, and if we did run LEDs, they always were in a hybrid. Nobody ran. The LEDs sucked back then. Very few guys ran only
Purple.
LEDs.
Yeah.
So the coral changed, man. It's not a fast grower anymore. I'm hoping, being where it is now, if it ever wakes up, if it is capable of converting back to accepting that light, truly accepting it, that it turns into a fast grower again, because that would be freaking insane. Because that coral was a white light, dark blue tenuous with all the colors. It didn't need any crazy spectrum to see the colors.
So
So
what do
we'll
you
see.
think? I mean, are you is it giving you like the vibes of like what you remember or
I mean, no, no, no. It's waking up. I'm seeing. All right, so it's getting some of the green to the body. It's starting to put a base down, which is it did not base in 18 months. It didn't base, so I'm seeing a base, and it's getting fuzzy. So it's all signs, and it shot out a tiny little branch besides the single stick that it was when I got it. So Alan, I'm feeding as much as I can. I feed any more than I'm feeding now, but it's like, I use those diatoms as like the indicator, and when the glass gets covered in 6 hours, I know I'm kind of overdoing it. Do you get that, Alan, when you feed like a lot? Do you get the glass growth in hours, or does your tank just consume it, or what? Curious to know what he thinks about
wait for
that.
it to come back through? Yeah, every time I interact with Alan, get more fish, feed more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm feeding like where the hell is the container? Like so one of these specimen containers right here. Okay. Um
Not yet.
I
Uh,
feed not he
feed it
doesn't get it.
more.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's got freaking bacteria on steroids. I fill this thing stuffed with all kinds of frozen the Hikari mysis, the rods food, the LRS or whatnot, and then I'll soak it in Sulcon. And between all the systems, so this is about let me see. I think I weighted it was like 20 grams maybe. It's quite a bit. And I'll feed this between all the systems and they'll get some pellets too here and there and some nori. But it's a lot of food, man. The system clouds up real good, you know. I don't know quantified like how much Alan's feeding. I know when I was feeding Alan's food, it was like 1 gram per 100 gallon, I think. So I was feeding like if I remember right, I was feeding 3 grams for for 300 gallons. No, at the time I laid the one tank, I was feeding 2 grams for 200 gallons. That's right. So I don't know. 20 grams seems like it's a lot to me, but system handles it. The nitrates don't go up. The phosphates I needed to use the Roaphos. I know you let yours go high, Alan. I tried that. I didn't have a good response, so I'm just keeping them down. You know, maybe one day I'll change, but whatever. Anyway, that's it, bud. You know, not reinventing the wheel here. We're just feeding our fish and observing our corals and having fun doing it, man. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked, man. Like when
Oh
I
shit.
switched to T5s, and then recently I started getting that green film again, and I love that green film, man. Like that green haze on the tank, man. When I see that stuff,
See, I don't get the
I'm
green.
excited.
I don't get the green. I know you.
I love that stuff. That stuff. I every time I brush that stuff away, man. You should see the acros, man. They shoot out their polyps. I mean, not that they're not out to begin with, but yeah, it's I think it's gold, you know. I've always been a big subscriber to brushing the glass daily.
Yeah. I want to show Alan. Alan, that was the one of the ones that were completely black. Alan, take a look at it now.
That thing looks
Took
killer.
took a couple months, but it recovered. But there's a bunch of pieces like that recovered. I have like 6 or 7 pieces like that. This is probably the worst one, and this one's even recovered. You see,
Ah,
it's you know this one is this one was jet black, man. There was no color. It's not fully colored up yet, but it's getting there. Dude, I was so happy to get my pink lemonades back because at one point that was like the nicest coral in the tank, you know, and to have it go to shit, I was pretty bummed out, you know. This thing though, oh, look at this thing's getting fucking insane. I love this coral. And then I got the Icarus back here. This one, we saw that already. But anyway, that's it, bud.
yeah, dude, everything's looking killer, man. So, well,
So
Rich,
who?
my dogs are probably gonna bark. My kid's coming home, and I know they're gonna bark any minute. So, but as usual, brother, I am so
Thanks.
gracious for your time. It's our best commodity that we have, and I can't thank you enough for giving me your time.
My
We
pleasure.
got a part four that we'll have to be starting to throw together, and hopefully, pretty soon we'll have Alan on. I've got Rebel Reef coming up again for a part two in February.
Nice. Yeah, that was
Thir-
great. Mike's awesome.
yeah, February 13th. We're gonna get into the bottom part of the tank this time.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm trying to get Joe JBNY
Dude, he's got an
and
aqua already. The guy just got back in the hobby. He's got an aqua whiz.
yeah, he just got the Aqua Whiz, I think.
Huh.
I don't know enough about I don't know that I need it for my system. I'm learning about it through you guys, and I'm just stoked to get the opportunity to, get some feedback through you and through Alan about the Aqua Whiz. But yeah, like the hobby's doing well in my opinion, like where I'm at, like with what I'm doing. I'm very, very stoked on everything that's going on. So the lives and everything else. So
Alan loves
again,
that.
I wanna remind you, how stoked I am for you about Top Shelf reaching out to you to come and do a live video. I'll be looking out for that. Please make sure and tell me when that
Yeah,
publishes.
yeah,
If,
yeah.
if I don't catch it, I want
I'll
to make
send you a
sure and
link or
catch.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And just congratulations as usual. A true gentleman and a true scholar of your reef. And you are a steward for the hobby. I appreciate everything you do out there. I'm really stoked and honored to call you my friend, and I appreciate your time as always, bro.
Very. Everything right back to you. Love you, buddy.
Love you well. Be well, bro. We'll catch
Take
up
care,
real
buddy.
soon. All right, man.
Okay.
Thanks
Have a good
again,
night.
bro.